Atlantic Ocean, upon me hills, to country, to educate, elevate, and promote. Yeah, focus on Liberia, for Liberia, Liberia, for Liberia, yeah. From Monday to Sunday. From Monday to Sunday, it's focus on Liberia. Talk about home affairs, in diaspora, current affairs, reliable information. Education, entertainment, business, sports, advertisement, articulation. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. From Monday to Sunday.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jah.
Welcome to Focus on Liberia. This is Friday Night Debate, and want to welcome all of you to Focus on Liberia. We're going to be debating very important issues, and if you are there, please join the debate and let's have a talk. Tonight, we're going to be looking at the successes, the failures, and challenges of President Joseph Newman Boakai first year. President Boakai, when he came to office first, it was the rescue mission. He had a job to do, and he set forth to do certain things. After 1 year, we want to look at that. You can go to even first semester, you can pass or fail. The year ain't got to finish first. So for 1 year now, how did President Boakai do? That's what we're going to be looking at. Success, failures, challenges, and we want to keep it as black and white as possible. Let me welcome my co-host, the man who is the political bulldog, Mr. Ansony Sieh. Welcome, sir.
Dennis, it's good to be here, and thank you. And I want to say welcome to those who are following the discussion. This is a debate. Like you said, we will make it black and white. Chicken white is white. When it's black, it's black. Successes, failures, and challenges. I'm here to participate. Let's do it.
Thank you. Let me welcome the neo-progressive commentator, Dr. Clarence R. Pearson. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Jah. It's a pleasure being here tonight. I want to say hi to all my esteemed panelists, fellow panelists, and to our listeners and viewers out there. Always a pleasure to be on the show, Dennis. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Let me welcome Mr. A. Boakai Dukle, who's joining us from Canada. Mr. Dukle, the Boakai name has been very prominent since 2024. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Dennis. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Let me also welcome Mr. William Gibson. We're proud to have a millennial among us. Welcome, William.
Thank you, Mr. Jah. Glad to be here.
Let me also welcome Pastor S.T. Salif. He's the senior pastor of One Family Christian Center. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Jah. Thank you, fellow panelists, and to everybody in listening land, wherever you are. We want to use this time to say Happy New Year to all of you, and I'm thankful to be here on my first show of the year.
Thank you. Let me welcome our FOL political analyst, Mr. J. Victor Nambi. Welcome, Mr. Nambi.
Thank you, Dennis. It's good to be here. Welcome to one and all. Shout out to my Sunshine Boys, the boys of Maryland County. I think they take on Bapolu tomorrow at 2 o'clock Liberian time. I know they will get it done. Also, shout out to my Philadelphia Eagles. It's going to go down this Sunday. Come by if you can. Let's cheer the boys to the NFC Championship. Go Eagles.
Go
Thank
Eagles.
you. Let me also welcome another Eagle fan, Mr. Mohammed Sharif. He is FOL political analyst and a product of Waplo Institute from Kelipo Kanwikan. Welcome, sir.
Dennis, it's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
We want to welcome all our viewers from across the globe. But it's Friday night debate. Successes, challenges, and I want us to kind of zero in on the arrest agenda. President Boakai came with the arrest agenda, and he made certain pronouncements. For example, no car will be stuck in the mud in 100 days, in 3 months, right? Besides that, other things came, that were not on his agenda that he did. Either he did them right or he did them not so well. We're going to look at all that. But let's start with, it's the end of the year. I want to get your opening statement as to how did the president, this is just the water cooler. You have 1 minute to tell me 1 year is over and how did the government do? And when I say government, I mean all three branches of government. How did Liberia do, Mr. J. Victor Nabe?
Listen, Dennis, I never thought I would say this, but the past 12 months, I'll consider as giving this president's, experience chronologically and experientially. And yet, I think these 12 months have been the learning months for this government. So I am reluctantly hopeful that the coming 12 months will be better. But the past 12 months are probably the months the locals have eaten, like they say. Let's hope that we use this time to learn something good.
Thank you. Pastor Sharif. Let's look at the 12 months. Let's look at government as a whole.
I'm so thankful that in the Liberian school system, it's divided into 6 periods. First period, second period, third period, 4, 5, and 6 period. So we already completed the census. The presidency is 6 years. I'm taking every year for a period. So as far as I'm concerned, this first period, I think they still got 5 more periods to make up this first period. Like Mr. J. Victor said, it's a learning period. And I won't buy that, because as I said and will always say, every political party is a government in waiting. So you cannot come on the job before you start learning. Everything you needed to do on the job, you should have known what you want to do as a political party. And from that day that the other contestant make that phone call to concede the election, your government has already started. So to waste or squander 1 whole year of our national destiny is unacceptable. And I grade them. I don't even grade them. It's a complete F that I grade this first period.
Mr. Gibson.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to the first year, as a couple others who spoke before me have alluded to, an experienced politician, an experienced statesman that should have already had this vision laid out while waiting for the presidency. I don't see any drastic changes or any true innovation taking place. I think it's been really muddled with a lot of confusion within the cabinet, a lot of corruption that has sort of thrown off the efforts of what this new Liberia Joseph Boakai envisioned when he spoke at the inauguration.
Mr. Dukley, let's look at the first 12 months. A summary of how did the government do?
It might be.
Mr. Dukley.
It's really hard to point out to any concrete development that has occurred in the first 12 months of this. I will concur with Brother Salif in that for someone in vice president and all the other years of experience in government, factoring all of that in place, I think it's just kind of hard.
Mr. Dukley,
Yeah, this
Mr.
is something that has.
your connection has an issue there.
I don't know. I think everybody.
You got to log
Is
off.
everybody getting in clearly?
No.
No.
All right. Mr. Dukley, you can fix some things.
Okay, I will log out and come
Let
back
me go
in.
to Dr. Clarence Pearson for the first 12 months.
Thank you, Venice. I would say hi to those who just joined us online. I want to say this as a classroom teacher and also a university lecturer before. I have graded the first year of performance of President Boakai F, 68%, and F being the lowest. So I gave him F. F falls between 0 to 69%. So I gave him a 68%. And for agriculture, I gave him D. I
thought 68 at D.
No, I skipped D. Some of the students will say D will stand for being dull, DULL. So we try to avoid it. So I know he's not dull, but I know B agriculture is B is 80%. I'm going to give them. I'll tell you why later. For roads, I'm going to give them 70 C. For rule of law, I'm going to give them F 50 from 0 to 69. I gave them a 50, and for education, I gave them a C 70. For sanitation, which include health, I get an F for 69. And for tourism, I get an F for 69. Don't forget, F will have been lower than 69, but I get a 69 for doing some publicity the last time for some kind of surfing exercise they did. I gave it some visibility. Yeah.
Mr. Sharif.
Yeah. So when you look at it as a government, you take the legislature, the judiciary, and the executive, not much has changed. So I will have to agree with Pastor on this one, which is, probably a surprise to most of you because we never agree on anything. But I will have to because, he said that it's not time to learn on the job. I mean, this is absolutely true. I mean, you don't come to a situation like this. And look, the president started off for me really good. He tried to disrupt the tenure system, which I don't like. I like, academic tenure, not political tenure for people to sit there and not do anything. He tried to disrupt that. He tried to do some reshuffles and why not? Brought in some yellow machines, a couple of them, and tried to fix some roles. And all of a sudden, he gets diverted by these people who are running in 2029. Thomas Fowler and Cohen and others who will be running in 2029 gets diverted by this political mess. And so the whole rule of law, this is lawlessness now. We're not even talking rule of law anymore. It's lawlessness. There's nothing been done. And then it's anytime you have lawlessness, anytime you have disrespect for the rule of law, the rest of your agenda is going to be a failure. So Clarence is correct. This is a failure. It's a look, if you sit here as a supporter, if I sit here as a supporter and say that, this is, it's passing, people do this, both sides, and I'm not about to do both sides. Okay, so this is a failure. And the good thing is there are 5 more years to get this done. But if the past is an indicator of the future, then we're in trouble. So let's brace ourselves, for an opposition and who's out there that we can rally around. I mean, there's there are people out there. So, we hope that we can talk about some of those people tonight. I have some good people to present to you all, so we will, we hope that we can talk about those.
I hope I'll be on your list.
Take it from there, Mr. Sieh.
All right. We come to you, Pastor Sully. Unity Party as a political institution that controlled government for 12 years and now having another opportunity. I want to know, did you expect better, given that they have served for 12 years before and they have experience of governance? Is this what you expected, or are you disappointed? Did it not meet your expectation at all?
I mean, that's an interesting question, and I'm happy you asked that. I'm grossly disappointed. We don't even have to have the 12-year experience that JMB had. Just the platform that he ran his campaign on. Liberia's problem is not something you need any textbook to tell you what the problem is. Just go into Liberia, you see what the problem is. Even living outside of Liberia in the diaspora, with family members and friends calling you, you know what the problem is. You know exactly how it is. So if you decide I want to seek the highest office in the land, you should already have solution. There's a reason. There should be something that propels you to make that decision. So that alone should have informed you on what to do. When you come against the Weah administration and said they failed, then you are coming to build up on their failure to do the right thing. So when you come under the umbrella of rescue, we're coming to rescue the country. If the country was in a dire state. So then you come in, coupled with your 12 years as a vice president, coupled with 40-something years in public service. And then you come and this is your performance. If I match Joseph Boakai with George Weah, I would say George Weah did way better than Joseph Boakai. Reason I would not give George Weah any pass. I'm only giving his pass against Joseph Boakai because George Weah was not in politics. George Weah spent his time playing soccer. He was not reading books. He was not doing these things. And he came, what he did is what he knew. But then you who've been vice president for 12 consecutive years, you know how government run. Most of the policy you went against were policy created during your time as vice president, as president of the Senate. I mean, and then you come and this is what you going to tell us? I mean, it's a complete failure. I am grossly disappointed. This is unacceptable. And I have said it before on one other show last year. Joseph Boakai should vacate. He can't do this job. This one guy told us that he can't do this job. He's not up to it. He's inept. He can't make it.
Thank you. And gentlemen, let's look at the successes and failures, if there are any, and even challenges as well, of the government based on the pillars of the government, if I can put it that way, arrest. And as you can see here, okay, go ahead, Dennis. We have agriculture, rules, rule of law, education, sanitation, and tourism. Let's start with the first two, because Comrade Sherry suggested that you want to flow out some names here for an alternative, and he wants that alternative to start now. We don't have time. I feel it's like he's giving up here. So coming back to the question, let's start with agriculture and rules. Tell us, if they fail, what specific failures are you talking about? What led to those failures? What were the challenges? All right. And also tell us the alternatives. And let's start with you, Mr. Dukley.
Well, thank you, Ansony. You know, haven't closely watched the successful government that have come in place since the cessation of hostility in Liberia. It's really hard to to see the future beyond where we are to be meaningful or promising, simply because all of the things that we need in order to put Liberia on a prosperous path has not been done. And I think I've said it on this platform before. I think some of the things that needed to be done would have been better done had it been legislated. Everybody talks about the corruption. Everybody talks about how corruption has affected almost every sphere of life in Liberia, and yet we have not seen any meaningful steps being taken that will bring some level of control to that menace,
So
which is
because of time, we
corruption.
want to go straight to the point. Do you agree that they fail? Did they succeed? Did they have challenges in the area of agriculture and roads? Tell us why.
Anthony, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to know that they fail miserably by every metrics. They fail miserably.
And why yardstick are you using? Are the things that they promised that they didn't achieve, for which you are arriving at that conclusion? Tell us.
Yes, going by their own deliverables that they told us, they have not delivered on any of those, and I think it's just it speaks to the inability of Joseph Boakai to effect any change.
So why are some of those delays? Because I'm going to push you guys here. Why? Because it's easier to say, oh, they fail. But I want to know the yardstick you're using, what measurement you're using to arrive at that conclusion. Tell us. Let's look at agriculture specifically.
Well, I mean, Anthony, you don't have to look too hard. This is the man who told us there's no vehicle is going to be stuck in the mud.
Mm-hmm.
Did that happen? No. This is the same man who talks about. He spoke of I wish I could have shared with you the joy of my brother Muhammad Sharif when it comes to the yellow machines, but unfortunately I can't. So when you look at the just take for example, when you talk about asset declaration, what happened? Absolutely nothing. I mean, there are myriad of things that I can go through, Ansony, to tell you how miserable this unity government has failed.
So at least you articulated failures. Don't tell me they didn't have any success whatsoever.
I mean, the success are very minute compared to where we were when it comes to George Weah. I mean, it's not all. I mean, I wouldn't even consider that. Looking at the magnitude of what needs to be done, I wouldn't. Because of that, I wouldn't even want to consider it a success. I mean, for somebody with 40 years under his belt, for someone who knows the workings of government, I mean, I wouldn't want to accept anything.
All right.
Short of what he said he was going to deliver on. I mean, come on, Ansony.
Thank you.
Thank you. And please flip your camera around for in the landscape.
Pardon me? Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess I'll put there.
Let me come to you, Mr. Gibson. Looking at agriculture and roads, we're looking at where they fail, if there were failures in your opinion, where they succeeded, if you know of any successes there, and challenges. Can you tell us, did they fail? What led to the failures? Or why are the failures? Did they succeed? Why are the successes? And why are the challenges?
Yeah, so as far as the intentionality with the first pillar being agriculture, I'll say that they have an effort that they've put in place as far as releasing the National Agricultural Development Plan.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of being in control of their own narrative, I think for all of these pillars, you would think leading up to the SONA, they would have released through the Ministry of Agriculture, or the Ministry of Information, some data to back up what the successes are within the first year, so the public can have a more broader and direct understanding of what they've done successfully. So they're in charge of their own narrative. But particularly for agriculture, the success will definitely be the development plan that they've rolled out. I was doing some research on the internet for the Inquirer newspaper. It says that they've done a cultivation of 1,000 hectares of land in the Bong Mines area for rice production. They've acquired a few acres of land within Lofa, Bong, and Nimba to help with the cultivation of growing rice and being more sustainable, as well as starting at the University of Liberia, particularly on Fenda's campus, to help with being sustainable in terms of feeding the students and things like that, and also generating income. So I don't know how far they've gotten with that, but as of May 2024, that was what was shared with the media. When it comes to the road work that's being done, if you look on the Ministry of Public Works, I think they do a good enough job. They could do better of sharing more about what is happening, not just in Monrovia, but also in the extensive areas outside of Monrovia when it comes to work that's being done on the roads in Nimba and in the southeast and things of that nature, and also in the north. There needs to be a bit more storytelling that's taking place, but I would say the success would be, of course, the National Development Agricultural Plan that they released. So that's an effort that's been taking place. I can't put a letter grade on it, but it's a start. When it comes to the roads, they've continued projects of the previous administration. So we wait to see what the true letter grade will be within a couple of years.
All right. Dr. Pearson, we're talking agriculture and roads. What failures you see, what challenges you see, and what successes you see, if there are.
Thank you, Ansony. I think it's important to mention here that I said earlier that I have a great scorecard for them on these 6 points of their agenda. I think for agriculture, like I mentioned earlier, I gave them a B, and that represents an 80 on my scale. And I think I gave them 80 based on what William just mentioned, the National Agriculture Development Plan 2024 to 2030. I think that the NUTA is on the right trajectory. But and another thing I want to highlight that gave them that 80 is that he's also advancing in that plan the establishment of the African the Agriculture Enterprise Development Bank. They're calling it the AEDB. I think those are some of the things in my policy papers that I want submitted to President Weah's administration, and I see it coming to pass. I think it's a good thing. And that also allowed me to give them that B, because I think with those two things and others, earmark, it's a good footing for them to be successful. But my fear is that we're good at having paper and plans, but seeing it through is a problem. So I want to piggyback off of what Gibson's, I think was Sieh for Gibson said, that we do need legislation. We need laws for some of the things to be enshrined into law, so that we don't just trash them, and after we lose a government. So I would like to see some legislations that will come to support agriculture and the entire agriculture structure and plans that we have developing right now in Liberia when it comes to what it says is feed yourself agenda. Let's have a bill that says something like that, with strategic funding that allocated to that. So that we know where the money is going to come from to support that plan. That plan is going to cost us around $700 million, as I saw in the plan from 2024 to 2030. So that $700 million, they are looking to do a public-private partnership for the bank, and that will initially generate, I think, $40 million to start that bank. But $40 million out of $700 million, that's just like a drop in the pocket. And I don't think we should leave it to chance. I think we should have a legislation that the national budget will significantly contribute towards that process. Currently in 2024, at the time we review, we only have $15 million in the budget for agriculture. And I think
Pearson, let me stop you there. I will give you a chance to get to the raw aspect of it.
Yeah.
You are saying you are a teacher, and myself too, I was in the classroom. I like that Pastor Sieh said this is first period in Liberia, we have 6 period, right? And you are a teacher. In the first period, the final exam that you give is for the student to write a paper. And now the student turn it in and give you the introduction, because you are talking that, oh, okay, they developed 2 policy documents. I'll see it as the introduction of the paper you ask the student to write for the final exam of the first period. And you are saying you give the student B because they wrote the introduction of the paper? That's what I'm hearing from you.
So as an educator, when you give a test, you grade a student based on the test that the student performed on. So if the student failed another test you gave later on, that's a different case. But I feel the success of our agriculture project in Liberia starts with a plan. And the fact that we have a plan and we have a roadmap to achieving our plan is a success.
And you are well versed with plans when it comes to the development of Liberia. Have any of those plans actually got us to a development stage satisfactorily? Because we've always had plans. Plan has never been the issue, I may argue. So why are you giving them B or just developing another plan?
Ansony, I would encourage FOL, our platform, I would encourage us to send out one of our journalists to the Ministry of Agriculture. And you will find that Dr. Nuta is very much engaged in the agricultural sector. Not only has he developed this plan, but there are concrete commitment to this plan as we speak. They just came from one of our, I think they are en route to one of our African neighboring country.
All right. I would take that. You defended your B. Let's come to roles because of time. Other panelists have to come here.
For roles, I will give them a C constituting 70%. And I think the 70% for that for me is because of the fact that they are continuing some of the road projects that were left behind by the CDC administration. They have not reneged on those projects. I think I've seen signs of the projects going on. And the reason why I gave them a 70 and not an 80 or a 90, because I think they squandered $22 million that could have been used for in a better way to benefit the country that was squandered. The 285 machines that they brought are going to help for roads and then transfer for agriculture. I think they messed up on that as well. So that also helped to bring their grades down. But what I would say before I close is this: I think I would recommend before I close, like we're saying, those are the things that they did wrong, but I would recommend what they would do right for me going forward.
And we'll get to the recommendation because of time. Dr. Pearson, let me hold you there, please.
All right, no problem.
We have a full house here. Let us welcome.
So yes, I would just close on that.
Mr. Sieh, I just needed 30 seconds to
before your 30 seconds, let's welcome the African Math Genius Project guy. That's Mr. Kalebo Gonglo. Mr. Gonglo, welcome. And Mr. Gonglo is a numbers guy. Mr. Gonglo, what does success in any of the things we're talking mean? Take, for instance, agriculture or roads. Take anyone. What does success in agriculture mean to you?
Well, success in agriculture, in my mind, would mean if you look at the input data on, for example, peppers, because Liberia consumes a lot of peppers. We spend about $24 million per year on peppers. If that input drop to maybe say 20 million or 18 million per annum, then I would say yes, we're making progress. There is a drop there. If we start to reduce import maybe by 1% or 2%, that's also substantial progress. That's what we say.
In 1 year, and they put that in the context of 1 year, right? What will success in roads for 1 year for this president mean?
Well, Liberia is a very different animal when you want to talk about road. I mean, after 177 years, we haven't done much in terms of road infrastructure development. So I'm not going to quantify it, but if, for example, in 1 year, if I see a substantial move to maybe continue the asphalt pavement road between Ganto and Tapeta, if I see a progress being made, like under the WIA administration, I think they went very close to Seglepie. If the company did substantial work, then you leave Seglepie between a town called Gray and Tapeta. They did the targeted spots that were very bad during the rain season. They paved those spots, to stop the then between Tabata and Glodiala, they did some work there. They paved also. So they cut in between paved that, okay, when we started full, we just connect these spots we've done. So if we see work continuing on that, then I would say, hey, progress has been made.
Thank you.
Then nothing is happening. Even the road towards Loguatio, which is supposed to be the Mano Rural Union Rural or West Africa, is at a standstill. Saying we are left power, nothing is happening. So
thank you.
So
Mr.
do I get
Saliga, 30 seconds.
Yeah, so
I think I gave you grades because
I heard Mr. Sieh talk about government acquire some acres of land in a place. That's not success. Let's look at the model of other countries around the world. Point to one country around the world that you say, government is directly involved with agriculture. It doesn't happen. What governments around the world do, they develop programs to empower the citizens of the country, who in turn carry out the agricultural programs by giving them incentives, by giving them the things that they need to do these things. And two, road is a factor of production when it comes to development, when it comes to sustainable development. Even if you empower somebody all the way in Foya, if that man has no farm to market road, there's no access road. The Liberians are not lazy, and I will always defend that. The reason our people are not involved in agriculture, how can we be spending $24 million every year for pepper when we got all the bush all around us in Monrovia, in Liberia? The reason is I have witnessed it. I went up country, people farm, and they can't even bring the produce to town because there's no road. You can't carry how many pounds can you put on your head to walk 5 miles, to walk 5 hours? You can't do it. So there's no farm to market road. There are no access roads. That's why the people are discouraged. And then there's no assistance from government to help people who want to go into agriculture. If government develop programs now and start to empower people in agriculture, I'm telling you, some of the foolish people we got sitting in government, they will leave government to go access some of those money to go to farm.
Thank you.
That's success.
Oh, Dennis, I still want to give grade if you guys are giving grade.
No, we'll get back to you and you will give your grade. As a teacher, you have to mark all the questions, before you give your letter grade or whatever grade you have to give, right? Comrade Sharif, will come to you. You were excited. You were upbeat about the road agenda. You and myself come from the Southeast. We all know what our people have to deal with. So I could understand your excitement when you heard about the yellow machine, but they're not on the road yet. Let me come to J. Victor Number, who is also from the Southeast. J. Victor, the veteran here. We're talking agriculture and we're talking roads. Tell us, did the government succeed? Did the government fail? What's the challenge?
So first of all, we'll look at the budget, the government's take stock of the success or failures. First of all, based on the primary promises that it made to us, the arrest agenda. What is it that they have accomplished on the spectrum of the arrest agenda? We can take agriculture, and I like Mr. Gongo's approach. Look at the numbers. If we're going to say, okay, maybe our importation of pepper has reduced by a certain percentage, well, that's progress. Or we can look in the budget and see what it is that they have put in the budget for agriculture. I think this year's budget is about 1.7% of the entire budget. When 87% of that budget is going to recurring expenditure. Can we say that is success? Even if we want to be as conservative as possible, can we call that success? Let's look at the roads. In 90 days, no car is going to get stuck in the mud. Almost $9 million has gone in debris. And where is the road in Liberia that is better, that's more possible now than 12 months ago? Show me a road. I come from the Southeast, like you indicated. Let's go to Lofa. The president flew when he had to go to Lofa. He couldn't travel the road. Can we call that success?
Mr. Namwe, I know of a project, just to interject here, from Vartown to Bonmar Bridge, the Johnny Tucker Bridge to St. Paul Bridge. That place has been like a city of horror. And I saw it twice when I visited Liberia. I'm like, are we even alive as a people? They started some work. Don't you think they deserve some credit there?
Well, they do, but we're talking percentage of success compared to the whole. I understand where my friend Wally lives across there. I go through Douala and all those places. That place is like you're on a highway. So if some success is being achieved there, that's good. But is that what we want to consider success in the total picture, in the total grand scheme of things? I can't easily go to the southeast. Can I say this government has succeeded by me, by my people? I can't say that. But that is what was promised to me. That in 90 days, I would drive from Monrovia and go to Capamas and go to Barobo and not get stuck in the mud.
So, Mr. Number, let me put it the other way. What would success be for you when it comes to roles, when it comes to agriculture, or for the first period?
So, like I indicated, for instance, if I look in the budget for agriculture, right, and I see a significant increase in the budget, I would say, you know what? I think they mean well here. Let's give them the space and let them formulate the plan. But go and look in the budget. What is there for agriculture? 1.7%. That is for the rest of 2025. So 2 years have gone by, and we haven't started agriculture yet. That is a major pillar.
That's agenda number one.
That's agenda number one. Well, let's look at education. The whole University of Liberia was closed for a year because they didn't have the money to run the place. The entire University of Liberia was closed. And you look at the infrastructure. Let's leave the academics alone. Look at the infrastructure, the University of Liberia. Where is it that we can...
Mr. Nawe will come to education, but you were saying to see success in agriculture, you should be able to get to Barabo. There's just 1 year. To see success in agriculture, you want the input on chicken feed to reduce from maybe 80%. That's just 1 year. So
well, like I said, Mr. Gongo, I like the way he approached it. That's one way of looking at it. So, for instance, if we were spending $24 million, like you indicated, importing rice, and we now see maybe we're spending 20, I don't see that happening. But we were talking about agriculture, and I was saying to you, well, if I want to say this government is doing something about agriculture, if I can't do it the way Mr. Gonglo is presented it, then I will look in the budget and see what the intentions are. I will follow the numbers. But if I go and look in the budget, I see salary and transportation, gasoline, all of that taking up over almost 90% of the budget. And we have only what? 1.7% in the budget for agriculture. Can I sit here and say, okay, I think this government has really made a lot of progress here in agriculture? So I'm just taking one item on the IRS agenda, agriculture.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Namuel. Let me come to you, Comrade Sharif. Let's start with roles. We'll get to agriculture. Talk to me. Mr. Namuel is using the yardstick of the budget. How much did they commit to road development? All right. And then he's also mentioning that against other things like salaries. Now we heard that they got new cars again and all these kind of things. Why a yardstick if you were to measure success with roles? What would it be? And that you think they didn't probably get to?
Yeah, my yardstick in the first year is very simple. Very simple. You promise in 90 days, no car gets stuck in the mud. Let's do that first. Then the second year, we're now going to make those promises permanent by not only grading those roads, but by paving those roads so that our roads look like when you travel next door to Ivory Coast right there, Guinea right there, in certain areas of Guinea, in Ivory Coast. So success to me is progressive. Success to me, Comrade, when I went to school, elementary school, there were some kids, my friends, that live in the town behind us, that live in Wleboken. And they take off their uniform to come to school. And they, after school, they took to get to two creeks, very large creeks, to get through them. All these years later, That has not changed. You know what has changed? The number of multimillionaires in the public sector. So I was very excited when I heard the president said in his campaign promise that no car is going to get stuck in the mud in 90 days. So I said to you all, if I see yellow machines, if I don't see yellow machines, then I'll come on here and criticize this administration. And I saw the yellow machines. I saw movement in that direction. All of a sudden, this president got distracted with the trappings of power. The legislature is a do-nothing legislature. Yumble Conga Lawrence, who don't know what she's doing, not supposed to be in that position, but Liberian people elected her anyway. You got Speaker, what's his name? Kuhn, that's his name.
Yeah,
he said he's a university professor. Okay, that's why now this place has to be tenebris and tenebris, darkness and darkness, if you have Richard Cohn teaching there. This is a problem already. So instead of focusing on the essential issues, somebody just mentioned, how are the farmers going to bring their produce to market? You know, there was, you know, in the old days, in some administration, there was something called the feeder roads. These little roads going to these little towns to assist these people to bring their goods to market, to bring their farm produce to the larger towns. The main roads, because the main roads in Liberia, right? You know, the thoroughfare are where the markets, the larger markets are, right? So where is the plan now to make that happen? So the president has sidestepped that. So it's a leadership fight. The 2029 fight that they're on right now, they have sidestepped the real development for the Liberian people. It's very disappointing that they're going in this direction. I don't care about, at this point, really, I don't care about plan. I need action. You know, plan can create dust. We have a lot of plans that have taken on molds in these offices. Okay, they draw up some plan, they sit there on these plans, and they go out. They constantly go out. They buy big cars. Why do you need a car? For what? A minister, you can ride a bike.
And I want you to end on this. So President Boakai, when he started in government, there was this idea of having yellow machines either per county or per region and to carry on road maintenance. Is this yellow machine thing is like the same concept he's trying to bring back. We have passed that. And that did not get our roads fixed. That did not get our roads paved. We are no near close to Ivory Coast. I went there, I lived there. Okay. And is it taking us back? Is this progressive? Because the way we see other countries building roads, not just putting one yellow machine there to be creating mud and imparting our mud. You think that concept will help us? Or is it outdated?
It's not going to help us. This is very antiquated at the pace at which they're going. You know, the next thing, before you know it, 2 years is over. The rainy season is coming soon, right? It's coming again. So keep in mind now, in 3-4 months, we get into the heavy rains in Liberia. So this whole thing, the machines are parked. Some of the machines are parked somewhere. What is going on is you're buying time, and then next rain, then the people are promised, oh, well, rain, we can't do anything. Then you get to year 3. By the time you get to year 3, people are vociferously campaigning for the next election. The election is going to take everyone's attention span away for 3 years.
Thank you,
so
Comrade.
You do nothing now in 3 years, and the next 3 years is political campaigning. You're not going to do anything at all.
Thank you, Comrade. Mr. Ducler, let me come to you, and this time let's move a little more further to the plan here. Let's talk about rule of law. Maybe we should stay on rule of law. Then you agree, or we should combine rule of law and education?
Yeah, let's go to rule of law. There's a lot to
Rule of law. Mr. Ducle, Mr. Boakai campaign very thoughtfully, strategically on this rule of law. It was like his core message. That was what he used to actually sharpen the contradiction in Liberia, they would say, between him and President George Weah. Has he succeeded? Has the Unity Party succeeded with the rule of law? Or have they failed?
I will give you the short answer, which is no, they have not. And, just before I even go further, I just wanted to add a little piece to my fellow panelists who were talking about agriculture. Just maybe 30 seconds here. It's very simple. The metrics we know, agriculture is supposed to, if you do it effectively, it's supposed to help to reduce poverty, and it's supposed to help to raise income as well as improve food security. We have none of those in Liberia, not before Joseph Boakai, not during his time. So they are not even attempted any of these. And so that's a very simple metrics that is almost universal. With that said, you see, in order for law enforcement or law and order to have the intended outcome that countries want, there are certain things that must be found or that must be put in place to do that. And these are all tangibles that law enforcement need. We don't have any of that. The police, they are poorly trained, ill-equipped. The judges are woefully not, they are so corrupt that you can tell the outcome of the case before it's even adjudicated. And I mean, the Liberian people don't have trust in the justice system. They don't trust the police. They don't trust the court. They don't trust anything. And Boakai, as a Unity Party head, has not done anything to address any of these. Now, the way the citizens of the country appreciate or sort of partner with the law enforcement is when the law enforcement engages them. We don't see that in Liberia. And to make things worse, this notion that people feel that they cannot get justice because their rights under the Constitution are not respected. So law and order for a country that has come from what we have come from should have been one of the things that needed to be prioritized, where we need trained police officers. We need to revamp the entire justice system to reflect our new reality. As a matter of fact, Ansony, if you go to Liberia today and you pay a visit to the court, to the Temple of Justice, and you see how cases are heard, I mean, it's just so embarrassing, to say the least. So when you look at the budget, what they allocated for law enforcement, the huge portion of it was to NSA, and I don't know if Liberia actually need NSA in terms of the work that they do. I don't think we need NSA, but yet we see NSA taking the larger allotment of the security budget to NSA. That's simply meant to siphon, to create a legal framework to make it look like as if the money is going to NSA, but we all know where the money goes. So this is supposed to strengthen our law enforcement, but it's not. So they are woefully, under funded, equipped, training. They're lacking all the basic elements that all the law enforcement must have in our country, around the world. So, I mean, how do you expect Joseph Boakai and his Unity Party to do anything that would change things? They are still doing things from 50 years ago. So there's no reality in Liberia today that reflects post-war Liberia. And I've said this before. You see, some of these things, the only thing I've seen change since the war, now our police officers, you see them carrying Kalashnikov. Before they were carrying, I don't know, these little pistols on on the side. The only change I've seen, they carry Kalashnikov now. Besides that, law enforcement, law and order in Liberia is a joke. I'm sorry to say it, but it is a joke.
Thank you. And gentlemen, I'll be raising at least one or two elements of rule of law, and you can grill. So, Mr. Ganglo, let me come to you. I will give you due process and checks and balances. How did the Unity Party, Josiah Yimam Boakai government, how did it do with due process and check and balances when we're talking about rule of law? And giving your evaluation of how they did, will you say they passed, were they challenged, or did they fail?
Well, governance, there's a big caption there. Rule of law is actually part of the governance issue. But here's what I would say. I would say, actually, Michael Gray here, I say F. They got F on rule of law to include, lack of due process. There are many things that have happened of late. If you look at the way the security sector in the country has actually been arresting people, I would say it speaks to the fact that the government has worked for the fail in that direction. Why?
Give me one example of anybody who was arrested in an unprofessional manner that really one can point to and say, no, this is not how you apply the rule of law.
Well, the most recent one that is so graphic, it was trailing on Facebook, was the guy who, I don't quite remember the name, but the prime suspect on the
his name is Thomas.
Thomas, who police, I think, two police officers, I think two person holding it, one foot on the other side, the other two person holding, then all I think 4 or 5 person holding the other part of the body to lift him or and carry him to the car. When he was actually in the custody of the police, when you could just simply say, okay, we're going to handcuff you, just walk to the car. They didn't have to do that. They were taking, I think, to JFK. This is how you take somebody to a medical center. So you can see right there that he was, if his rights were violated, if we're in the country with strong rights for defendants, I believe his lawyer would have probably filed a lawsuit against the government, for wrongful arrest or for whatever, and claim some damages against the government in the manner in which it was handled. And this was done on camera.
If you were a police RG and you saw that unprofessional arrest being made by the police officer, what would be your action?
Well, it depends on what the police has been trained. I would say, obviously,
I can argue that the police have been trained to know how to arrest somebody. They just were not professional enough to do so. I don't think they were told that 3-person, 4-person can arrest somebody and pick the person. I don't think they got that training.
Yeah. So if we all agree that in terms of standard, this is not the way to do it. The person is not resisting arrest, has not resisted. In fact, the person is in your custody, and you only take the person to the hospital because the person claimed of some ill treatment in jail, and you take the person to the hospital to confirm that. It means the person is not even resisting. You take the person, just instruct the person, walk this way, do this on the person. If I were the RG, I would actually investigate those officers and if I would immediately suspend them and probably allow them to go for retraining. That's what I would do. But again, like I argue, it depends on what kind of manual are they using. So
thank you. Thank you. And
I will give them F on rule of law.
All right. And Gibson, let's look at transparency and accountability. Transparency meaning laws are enacted, administered, and enforced in a fair and efficient manner. Accountability here to be specific, government officials and private actors are accountable under the law equally. Mr. Gibson.
Yes. As far as transparency goes, there's a lot of things that's done within the darkness, but not a lot of truth is being told to the public about what's really occurred. Prime examples will, of course, be the saga that took place when it comes to the LDEA and the investigations that took place there. President Boakai took months to reveal his decision. You go back to the situation with the commerce minister and the LRA director, how they were involved with the whole medtech saga as well. There was not a lot of transparency being promoted within that space about what the government role was within that whole situation. And as far as accountability, when you have individuals who are accused of accepting bribes, for example, doing a educational scheme, both with the Minister of Foreign Affairs being involved with that, as well as the First Lady's office now being brought to book with individuals within her office, also pushing an educational scheme that is also creating a bad optics for his administration. So in terms of transparency and accountability, they have lacked heavily within holding people who are within these positions, whether appointed or whether appointed to these roles, and even the elected officials that's within the Unity Party camp, they have not been truly held accountable by the people within the high ups. So I think transparency and accountability has been lacking in a great deal when it comes to, like you said rightly, about him being someone who has the rule of law within his pillar of his administration.
And Pastor Salif, take this accountability and transparency thing from the sustainable development angle or perspective, because people need to be clear what has been done, and they need to know what has been done and the how, for them to know if the government is moving the needle or not. So talk to me. Has the government been transparent? Has the government failed on transparency and accountability? And what are some of the accountability measures you really wanted to see that you did not see, and how you think it has those things have impacted the country?
I would say, in my estimation, when it comes to accountability and transparency, the government failed again woefully. I was trying to find a story that I had here to share with us, but I can't get to it now. About a young man who was at one of the ministries who blew the whistle on some corruption scheme that was going on. And he got fired for that.
The scholarship.
Yeah, the scholarship stuff.
Scholarship from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Yeah,
that's Nyamplu. I think he was the
Matthew
Deputy Minister for Press and Public Affairs at the Ministry of Information.
Yes, so a government that comes to power on the heels of rule of law, transparency, and all of that, how do you fire such a person? So that should tell us that the government did not come in. I mean, I said it over and over that the JMB administration is a fraud on the Liberian people. We got duped, and I don't blame the Liberian people for voting there. And they were tired where we are, and they thought that JMB was the hope. So when it comes to transparency, they fail completely, and that's the only example that I would give. There was another example again about another young man who recently, I think in December, was talking about his boss. There was some project that we're working on is supposed to be this amount. His boss asked him to build in extra amount of money into it, and he said no, he can't do that. That's not what, and he got in trouble for that. So
Ministry of Finance.
It was still the same story.
Ministry of Finance, Bill McGee Jones.
Yes, that's the one.
That was some technical thing to do with the printing of the budget.
There you go. Thank you. So all these things tell us that the government has not been serious with the Liberian people. Besides that, there has been no accountability. And I still go back to day one. And that is Joseph Boakai's nemesis right there. His party chairman, Reverend Luther Tappet, from the transition period, the money that was released for all these districts, since they couldn't bring everybody to town for the inauguration, they gave them money to do their own stuff. Reverend Luther Tappet took money from all the money from the district. And he confessed that, yes, he took the money. Has he been held accountable? No, he was given a promotion. He was given a job, which was a conflict of interest because you cannot be the party chairman and you hold position in the government. And when that position was coming slow, He led, I will call a mutiny. He sent young people in the street to protest at JMB house and say, oh, y'all were in the poo-poo water doing all these things. Now they're giving job to other people. He made that noise until he got an appointment. So there's no transparency. There has been no accountability on how the inaugural money was spent. If we cannot even do that, there's no other thing that we can do. And that's what I said. JMB, he really surprised me at his age. What else does he want? He should only be building legacy so that history books can say when Liberia was at the crossroads, it was JMB that came and got us out of there. But I don't know why history will be written of him. At his age, what else does he want? He should only be working for posterity, not for prosperity.
Thank you.
Accountability, though, and
yeah.
No, Dennis, I was just about to bring something because President
Yeah,
Boakai
we got to move to the next person
commissioner.
before number 4 asleep.
All right. Let's get to Namwe.
So Namwe, here's my question for you. Because when it comes to the rule of law, I mean, we are quickly, we go to the president, right? But there are many actors here. Let's look at the police. Let's look at the clerks at the court. Let's look at the judges. So rule of law is huge. I mean, if you're a minister and you're supposed to do X, Y, Z, and you're not doing it, how is that the president?
It falls on the president. He appointed you. He should call you to order. He should discipline you for that. He should fire you. He should suspend you. He should do something that the people know that this president is a new sheriff in town. You can't just sit there and let these things happen. The reason they are happening because there's no people do it with impunity.
But so if people themselves are not accountable, if people who sought to protect the Constitution are not doing it,
fire
why
them.
aren't we holding them accountable? Look at the IG, for instance. Look at LDEA, and look at all these people, ombudsman, the other group of people, war crimes court, and all these. Everybody's supposed to be doing something, and they are not doing it. How do we say Boakai?
He's the president. The buck stops with him. He should fire them. There's no excuse.
All of these people are proxy. They're proxies for the president. Dennis. They represent the president.
Even the Supreme Court justice, who can't even tell us this is the rule. This is our ruling.
So that is slightly different.
Anything that falls under the executive, the buck stops with the president.
Yes, and I mean, in a number of those instances have been recounted here tonight. I mean, the biggest of them all is the 285 machines. Nobody has been held accountable. Those machines are still here.
What about the buses from Ghana?
Tell me about it. They are depreciating. We will be on the hook for those machines, and they're not doing anything. I don't know of anything that they are doing. They're just sitting there, and we're paying storage fee for these machines. We have to pay for them, but nobody has been brought. The Nefotech scholarship scheme, $25 million scheme. Nothing has been said about it. The telecom scandal, Abu Kamara and the team, nothing has been said about it.
So the president should be babysitting them now.
So the president is the head of the government, and all of these functionaries function right at the will and pleasure of the president. He appointed these people. They are practice for him.
Mr. Namwe, for you to continue on this, I think Dene has a point, right? Let me give you a case to look at specifically. The LSCC, for example, the president appointed individuals over there. They have their responsibility ready and they know what to do. They know that individuals in the government who are appointed before they can take office, they must declare their asset. The law is clear. It said prior, before you can take office, you must. So these individuals know that there are some people who have been appointed. They have started work. They have not declared their asset, and they are sitting there. Should we blame the president still?
Yeah.
Can these people also be held accountable?
Yeah. Let me tell you this. The president has in his government people who have active party functionaries. The chairman of the party, for instance, he works directly in the government. His own partisans tried to mutiny against him. They went to the party office. They told them to choose. What did they do? They ran to the Supreme Court to interpret conflict of interest. The ombudsman tried. They gave them 5 days, I think back in November.
Yeah.
Where has that case gone? Nowhere. Because we have an imperial presidency The presidency is the president's finger is on the pulse in every matter in Liberia. Let's not kid ourselves. The president say yes, let it happen. It will happen.
But
Well,
James,
Mr. Governor, if we
I
want
think that-
achieve accountability, right? It is sad that it appears as though now that we all have to rely on the president. So where is individual responsibility here?
no, Mr. Sieh. I think you're taking this thing wrong.
No, I'm just diving deeper.
Yeah, I'm coming. The buck stops with the president. Where is the performance review for the people he appointed?
And you said that, but what's about those individuals who took oath
Yes.
to represent the people of Liberia at their respective ministries and agency?
So if they are not doing the job that Mr. Sheriff just said it, he's trying to bring in new people.
Why are they not even doing their job that they?
That's the question for the president to answer. He appointed them. If they're not performing, he should evaluate them and remove them from office. The buck stops with the president.
If I can just make a quick comment here,
I couldn't agree with Pastor Selim more. Yeah.
The law that the section of the act creating the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission, read further. The Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission does not have the authority to suspend presidential appointees for non-compliance with submission of assets.
Yes.
Right? It is a president that when they make that report, when they made a report that under 2% of presidential appointees have actually done this. In fact, the part of the reason why it complicated the issue was President Boakai himself was in violation of the law, because the law is very clear before taking office. He did not declare his asset and he took office. Okay? So it was difficult for him. It was what I would say, should I say cognitive dissonance here? He knew that he was also conflicted, but his ministers were also, could he take action on that? He found it a little bit difficult to do it. And up to this point, he's still appealing to presidential appointees to declare the asset. And that's the shameful part. And that's the disgraceful part. So that's why everybody takes the country for ride. Because the president is still begging cabinet ministers.
And that was part of the 100 days deliverable, Mr. Gongle. That was part of the 100 days deliverable.
Let's get to Dr. Pearson here.
Yeah, we'll come to Dr. Pearson and let's go to education, sanitation.
I'm not contributing to the rule of law.
Yeah, let's give Dr. Pearson time to contribute to the rule of law. This one is big, Dennis. This is the fulcrum of the government.
Yeah. This thing is political, it's not lit.
Okay, go ahead.
So just to be on the record, I gave President Boakai F for the rule of law, and one of the things I did, I let Mr. Gonglo.
I don't want us to forget about the legislature, right? Because
the rule of law
is the legislature that going the third lane.
Not in my time. So the rule of law for me encompasses as well as security, right? Security is within the rule of law, and I don't think Liberians feel safe. They don't feel safer than they felt before President Boakai took office. I would say that quite frankly, because I got my children, I got family members in Liberia, and in as much as we opposition made a lot of noise about high-profile individuals that died in the country, we have had police shoot live bullets on civilians number of times in Liberia under President Boakai, and nothing was done to them. They investigated themselves and gave themselves a passing mark that they had justification for killing the civilians. Some people, they had the opportunity to get in some money, $5,000, and shut their mouths, and nothing came out of it further. We've also seen multiple deaths across the country. Even today, as we speak, there's a photo of a little girl from Broadway who is also on the internet, and there are multiple other deaths that have been unaccounted for. We have a lot of break-ins. I have friends, even clergy friends who got broken into. Human security is very poor in our country right now, and I think President Boakai needs to pay attention. I would have given F for 50. And another thing is that respect for the rule of law. I don't see respect for the rule of law, and it's surprising to me. President Boakai is on videotape. I mean, denigrating George Manning. We are an entire government for failure to follow the rule of law. In fact, they said they dragged the country into the mud. But we've dragged the rule of law into the mud until we burn the Capitol down. According to the police IG, the Capitol building was burned down because of people failing to follow the rule of law. And notwithstanding, the very police that should ensure the rule of law is accused of torture. all right, manhandling people who trying to do peaceful protests. And Mr. Gonglo talked about the boy who they were dragging to the police vehicle. But don't forget when we saw the encampment, the siege of the CDC headquarters, we saw them doing the same thing with a couple of other people. We see DA officers try to execute a false search and seizure warrant. You know, so I think President Boakai needs to wake up. And I tell my friends a lot, and I speak to other people. These things are going to come up in the next reports on our human rights reports in the next couple of months. That's going to come back. It's going to hurt us bad, and I think it's also going to hurt our bid for that MCC. I see a lot of people running around saying we passed MCC. MCC is just not a scorecard you passed last year and then you benefit this year. MC, you be consistent with the progress that they see you making. So I think it's going to hurt us. And lastly, Dennis, so you don't come into a halt. But the last thing I want to mention, I don't see no new legislation coming up from the Boakai administration to strengthen some of those areas, or from the legislature to strengthen some of those areas that we have that are challenging when it comes to the execution of the rule of law. And I gave the example. The Supreme Court told our legislature, you got laws you're supposed to pass that will keep you in the confinement of the law. You did not do anything about it. Now they're going back. They're going to City Hall. The so-called according renegade group, but they are not even thinking about revising that same Article 39. Okay, I think it's either Article 49 or 39. One of the two, and then the own rules that will tell them how to enforce in the compliance if you minority. They're not talking anything about that. What they're waiting for Mubonde, we should burn down the City Hall again. You know, and then it comes to the justice system. Now, sadly, we've seen people get dragged from the courts under the court's jurisdiction in custody of the LMP to be brought back to the court. They got taken from there overnight, carried to a foreign country, and the person is presumed dead. And nothing about it. Few weeks later, we get pickups in return.
Thank you. And Comrade Sherry, you got a final word on rule of law.
Yeah, F for me. F. Pure F.
The rule of law under the administration it's just been abysmal. So when you're consumed with power struggle, you try to control the three branches of government. You know, so now the legislature is subservient to the all-powerful presidency. So this is the mighty and all-powerful presidency. There are weaknesses in the Liberian system, and those weaknesses are continuing to manifest through this process because you have the judiciary that's always been in the pocket of the executive mansion, and now you have the legislature that's in the pocket of the executive mansion. In this situation, the president has handpicked his speaker who was soundly beating, and now they didn't give up. So they come around and bribe stole a whole lot of money and bribe people to try to remove the legitimate speaker of the House of Representatives. I mean, this is inimical to Liberian democracy, and we're sitting here in the United States and around the world, now people in Liberia, and nobody is doing something about this. And everybody, and I see all these human rights people, you know, these people who react after the fact. Now people supposed to make their voices heard on these issues. You know, we need a stronger system than this. Our system is very weak. And so you always have the executive presidency that's interfering with the other branches of government. The other branches are not independent. Yambli Conga Lawrence don't know what she's doing. Okay? Cone doesn't know what he's doing. You know, nobody knows what, a lot of people up there don't know what they're doing. And so they follow the president. They say, Papa, leave us. This is your country. We in your hands. No. It shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way. It is supposed to be three branches of government that are independent, that, counterbalance and countercheck one another for the preservation of our democracy. But that is not happening. That's not happening right now. And so for the rule of law, the president who came into office to say that, I promise you the rule of law. So at the end of the year, what the president's supporters demonstrated is very detrimental to Liberian democracy. Our system is already weak as it is. Our constitution is awful as it is. What I expected this legislature to do is to make some good laws, change this 1986 bad constitution, please. But they're not doing that. They, in fact, they're co-signing on everything. Yambly Congo Lawrence is co-signing on everything that's given her. I don't know why she's there, to be honest with you. Why is the woman sitting over there as president pro temp? She's
rubber. Answer that question because the people of Gambasa voted her. That's why she's there.
She's rubber stamping everything, and now you have a speaker, okay, that have been forced on the Liberian people, who's a rebel. Now he's going to rubber stamp everything, and that's the reality of it. Let us be honest, because for political interest, people are not going to be honest. But you got independents like me who are very honest with the process. Whatever happens, I'm going to say it like it is. And what's happening now is very detrimental to our democracy.
Thank you. I've heard a lot of, failures. I want to hear successes, right? And successes of President Boakai in year one. Since Mr. Sherry, you are on the floor, tell me some of the successes. I mean, you can't go to school and just everything is bad. Tell me something that is good. And just to let you know, our friend Sam Wallow has been listing some good things. Number one, creation of National Rail Authority. And he always talks about HPX.
It's not tangible. People are not going to eat that. This is not a tangible achievement. Nobody's eating that. Where is the report on this? Where is
bloating the government with another creation of another?
Right. Where is anything to explain?
So let's leave that. Can you tell me, Mr. Sharif, the successes of President Boakai government in year one? Let's go through some successes.
Look,
we tired of the bad news.
Look, he came in and right off the bat hit the ground running. Indicating that he's one term. He hasn't officially announced that, indicating that he's one term president. Which I like very much. And then the second part about it was he came in, disrupted this political tenure positions. You don't need tenure. You can tenure in academia. You don't need all these politicians sitting there. Why do you need a tenure at National Social Security and Welfare Corporation? Why do you need a tenure at EPA? Why do you need tenure at all these positions? Maybe at the Elections Commission, you probably need tenure. Maybe at the Ministry of Justice. Maybe in strategic places. But once they started out under the alien government, everybody wanted tenure. So the process was polluted. So the fact that Boakai came in and tried to disrupt that was a good thing. The fact that he came in and was committed to roles and all these things.
Some say he was robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah, but that's what it was, because elections have consequences. Keep in mind, because he won the presidency, albeit by less than 20,000 votes, but he still won. So yes, you can put your own people in. I don't care about that. But now you deviate from all these good things that you're doing, especially the road development project for the rural masses. And now you jump to this fight about politics, about controlling the legislature. It's very bad, even though you want some good news, but there is not a lot of good news in that, Dennis. The bad news now has, overtaken the good news.
Let me go to Mr. Buckley. Maybe I can hear some good news. What are some of the successes, Mr. Buckley?
And Dennis, let me put some meat on the question here, if you don't mind, right? There are a lot of Unity Party people who are counting these MOUs. There's so many of them that have been reached between the Liberian government and other development partners, investment institutions that are trying to do business in Liberia. A lot of them that Sam Water is always listing here. So can those things be considered as achievements, gentlemen? I mean, I want us to really discuss that. They signed an MOU with HPS. They're going to invest $500 $1 million and this amount. Do you consider those things are investment? They went to South Korea. There was this MOU and that MOU to invest in this, invest in this. We saw that during the Weah administration, MOU here and there. Bali Island, there was an MOU on it. There was an MOU for rice production. So are these things actually successes? And Mr. Sherry, you take a jab at that. I'll give you the opportunity. MOU.
No, these are I like tangibles. These are not successes. MOUs are not binding. So what is this? What is the success? What is, nobody's communicating what the impact on the average people will be. So if anyone's telling me now, what is the impact? What is in 2 years, in 3 years, what is the average Liberian going to gain from all these travels, from all this international travel, private jets and whatnot? What is the Liberian people going to gain from any of this? Nobody has been able to communicate this to Liberian people. So people are left holding the bag on this administration. This administration now, is coming to a point where it's very, very, very disappointing. I know we want the good news, and I will be the good news. I should have been the good news bearer. I have always been, on the side of the administration. I would like to be a good news bearer, but unfortunately, I don't have anything in my hands to give you now. Look at my hands. My hands are empty.
Thank you. Well, at least you have the yellow machine shuffling, so that's something there. and gentlemen, to add to the list, right? You had a pronouncement of war crime court. There was an appointment for somebody to head that. You also had what you call assets recovery. Somebody was appointed to lead that effort, right? These pronouncements, are these things not achievements? Are these things not successes? I come to you, Mr. Gibson. Many people are saying these are successes. These are big deals. What do you make of them?
Yeah, so as far as the topic of the MOUs, typically when MOUs are signed, is a signal for a start to something, is an understanding where two entities are coming to the table to work on how the implementation and everything will occur. That's on the back end. But it's a symbol, right? But if the follow through is not completed or started in any kind of way, is not a success further after that point. It's just a symbol. So the MOU will be a symbol in this point because there's not been any implementation that's been taking place. We haven't heard any updates about a lot of these MOUs that have been signed. And when it comes to the piece about the different war crimes court process recovery,
individuals to lead those efforts.
Yeah, it's like, the intentionality behind it. You put the people in place, but then it's still at a snail's pace to pick up steam. Or you skip all the steps that's needed in terms of the assets recovery. You skip the steps that's needed to make sure that this is something that is, one, credible, and is not just a chase after individuals, but it's actually people who have credibility. They're experts in said areas where they can go and actually do the work and not try to politicize it. So in these areas, I don't see anything as a success. More so is a symbolic effort that is being made, but it's not a true success of implementation.
Thank you. Mr. Salif, a lot of MOUs being signed, some in Liberia when the president traveled, and when they return, it's about MOUs, and the other things are listed about assets recovery, war crime codes, ZAD, to put it that way. These are big success in the eyes of the Unity Party people. In fact, collecting revenue and let's put it as say $12 million from the National Port Authority. They said that is a success. The LRA is saying that, look, we have far exceeded our projection.
That's
for
not true.
This year. The Unity Party is saying this is a success. They are also saying, look, we raised our budget now is in 800 million plus. They are saying this is a success. We have a policy document now that we use to carry on the things we want to do. Unity Party is saying this is a success. Why are you saying they have not achieved anything?
Okay, so let's start from the internal revenue 2024, and I have it right in front of me, so I'm reading it. The 2024 national budget target is set at 738.6 million. The LRA had a target to reach for 2024, and as of September 30th, 2024, the LRA has only collected 13.8 million. Okay, so if I would grade them on success, that's the only area I would have talked about. It's not a success because they have not reached their goal. Their targeted goal of the budget and recast budget for 513.8 million and 696.4 million. 2024 revenue goal has not been reached because as of September 30th, 2024, they only collected $13.8 million. You don't call that success. I would say it's a try. You know, in Liberia, we love to pat ourselves on the back because we love the do well trophy. That's the only trophy we win in sport and everything. Oh, I mean, the men do well. Even in classroom, when I was in school, and full disclosure, Mr. Double Jala, the boss of the LRA, he was my high school teacher in St. Patrick's. You know, the whole class would take a test. Maybe one person got 80 other people. You will hear a student still pat himself on the back. Oh, man, I made 59. I tried. That you know how much the other man made. That man made 30. So you praising yourself for failing because you did a little better than somebody else. That's exactly what the UP is doing. This is a failing grade. It's not a passing grade. So you can't say, oh, I made 59, so I tried because we are government and made 39. That you don't pat yourself on the back. You did not pass. You did not do anything. Now I have in front of me here, and I can share it if you want the link. The Finance Ministry of Ghana. I have the 2024 fact sheet in front of me, and I'm looking at their growth. The economy grew by 6.3, and if I can share it with you because of time, so you see where all the money came from. They have plans of sustainable growth momentum. They had the Ghana Cares program. They had the Economic Enclave program. They had the One District, One Factory program, SME Growth and Opportunity program. The Planning for Food and Jobs Phase 1, Phase 2 program. The collective revenue from agriculture, from service sector, from other places. So I'm not saying the government did not try. The debate tonight was their success. So when I was in St. Patrick's, passing grade at the end of the year, your final average must be 74. 74 before you can get promoted to the next class. I think 74, 75. Every other school in Monrovia, you get 70, you're promoted to the next class. In St. Patrick's, you can have 73.99. You're not going to the next class. It's a failure. But for other schools, it's a success. So you're not going to rate yourself that, oh, I got promoted to the next class, but I got this thing. It's a failure. We are not saying there are not little traces of successes here and there, but overall, the government failed. They did not do anything.
Yes, Mr. Gunglo, and your Unity Party friends, there are a lot of things they are saying. They are painting a picture of success and even more on the way. I've listed a few of them. Is that what you see? Can these things actually be considered as successes?
Well, I don't know if you can remind me on some of the things you listed. But just before I make comment, I just want to talk quickly on Mr. Sieh information ARA. Mm-hmm. Say whatever you want. The records are there. ARA actually did pass their projected revenue, what they were going to pay. They actually did pass that.
That's good news.
Yeah, I know Double Jala was a teacher in St. Patrick, but he's actually my brother, and I do talk to him almost every day. So he does share with me data that he has. So they actually did pass the.
Can you share that data with us, or is secret?
It's not secret because they have actually. If you go to
it's actually out there. They say they have succeeded. They have exceeded their projection in terms of revenue collection.
Go there. Just tap ARA dot. I think on something at .gov. It's there. You see it. In fact, they have the press release with the numbers. Everything is there. So it's no secret. I
So
think
if
that's
we
why.
can do this, why we still going around the world to beg and be signing
No,
all these MOUs?
you see, I think there's the confusion people usually have. The revenue authority duty is just to collect revenue. They do not have authority to allocate. It is the executive, the legislature, they go into that. So LRA is a non-political. In fact, you sign a contract when you go to work there that you are not going to discuss politics, not even on social media. You do that, you are fired. So LRA did pass that. I can speak to that because it's on our website, not something I'm saying. But
Yeah, I just took it. Hold on, Mr. Brown. I just took it from their website. It reads here: the Labor Revenue Authority (LRA) has surpassed expectations, achieving a remarkable milestone in the 2024 fiscal year by exceeding its annual domestic revenue target of USD 690 million. That's what I just took from their website.
Yeah.
So how are these targets set? Who set the
Right.
target?
This is just a statement, right? So, and what are we getting as a result of this?
Thank you.
Okay, so we used
what
to.
are you getting? Dennis, what do you mean? What are you getting?
Yeah, I'm coming to that. So we used to run.
Don't take my time. We have not actually.
Yeah. We used to. Let's say we used to run short. We don't pay all our teachers, but because we exceeded it, so now we are paying our teachers. That's what I mean. What are we getting?
But Dennis, that's a different question. The revenue authority, even in the United States, the duty is not to raise revenue. In terms of how it's allocated, it's a political process. It's a political
that's what I want to know. Because
So-
what does this mean?
What it means is, Boakai administration and the legislature combined, we have more money to steal. That's what it means.
But if I may just interject here for a minute.
Yes, go ahead.
You see, Professor Gonglo, what I want you to know, what you just said now, is completely the opposite of what we have in the Republic of Liberia. We need to see the impact of that $690 million on tangibles, on schools, on roads, on all the development elements that we need. Now, just because LRA has surpassed their projected whatever it was, if that is not going to translate in anything meaningful in the lives of the Liberian, it means nothing. So
that's what I was driving at.
No. But Mr. Dukley, let's be honest.
Hold on. Mr. Dukley, to your point, right?
Hold on, Mr. Sieh. Time is fast spent. We want to announce that if you want to join
I have not spoken yet.
Yeah. I will give it back to you. I just want to announce for our callers to call in. The number is 605-313-6004. The code is 791-403#. Mr. Gonglo, I'm doing this because I know when you are not on the show, you're very particular about the calls. So I want to announce that please place your call. We'll be taking calls shortly. Mr. Gonglo, please continue.
Okay, so let me just because Ansony asked a question on sources, but I just want to make a quick comment on what Mr. Sherry said earlier, that on the question of tenure job, Boakai is not a sources because the tenure job was a law. It's a law that has not been repealed. So if President Boakai had repealed that law to say, I'm repealing this tenure law that even people I'm appointing them in this position, they are not tenure or employees, that would have been a sources. But he did not repeal that law. In fact, attempts that he
bad
made.
law. It's a bad law.
No, so
he helped to create that law. He
was vice president under president. We are no tenure act was created.
He was vice president, but he was parked. He was parked.
He was the head of the Senate. He was the president of the Senate. He helped to create the tenure position.
But let me just go on that. I have short time. Let me on the Mohammed. So like MOU for me politically in context of what is happening in the country, I would say MOU is just a step up version of photo op. You meet somebody, you just go take photo. You say, "Oh, I just met Dr. Pearson," and this is exactly what the government did. That's what they did with the MOU. It's nothing. Okay, so you don't call that sources. You don't call that sources. And I will basically maybe end on this. Asset recovery. Look in the 2025 budget. The allocation there. They say if you want to know The fact just traced the money. $0 allocated in 2025 budget on asset recovery. Yeah. So that speaks to the president mindset, whether he's going to recover our assets. Because you know what? He started NSA audit. And he said, oh, no. Stop. Even though there's no law that says NSA cannot be audited. Because in the first year, he allocated more money to NSA than President We are there. This is why Sherry sitting here, he must actually apologize to me. When I said on the show, and he accused me of being a We Are supporter, when I said Boakai and We Are on one side of the same coin, just choose the one you're comfortable in defending, because they will give you the same results. Boakai will give you the old version result of Boakai, and We Are will give you the younger version of Boakai. That's all. Choose one of them. It's exactly what is happening. Everything We Are did, Boakai is doing it 3 times.
Thank you, Mr. Gonglo. You made a point, and Mr. Dukle was on the floor. Mr. Dukle, you mentioned that you were alluding to the fact that LRA has surpassed a projection of revenue collection, and it surpassed it with 10 million only. The projection was 690. All right, and it collected additional 10 million, putting it to 70. So, and you are saying, well, how does this translate if you have the budget now, recurring expenses on the budget is far above 80%, right? So that's the point. And so, but my question to you is that they made a projection, this exceeded that. Why you think that is not a success? Well, government, the passing grade for this math class is 80 and you score 85. Did you not pass?
Yes, on this metric you would say, yeah. But I mean, considering where we are and considering the multitude of what people expect from the national government, and the fact that people are even mentioning memorandum of understanding, they are just that, memorandum of understanding, period. So the only reason why anyone would resort to mentioning these memorandum as success, it just tells you, it gives you the bigger picture as to the failure of the government. I mean, since when you point to these memorandums, they are just memorandums, and so it's not even guaranteed that it's going to come to pass, or it just shows that there has been an understanding, and there's still a lot of legwork that need to be done before you can see this through. That's just what it is. And so anything can happen. Now, I will give it to you that, yeah, they succeeded in terms of their projection for the LRA. Yes, yeah, I will give them that. But just to say you surpass your projected target in the context of Liberia, if we don't see the tangibles, you know, and by the tangibles, I means the outcome that is going to impact on the lives of the Liberians in terms of infrastructure, schools, trained teachers, and all these things. Because you can have all these things if it's not, if it, go in the street and ask the ordinary Liberian, are you better off during this Boakai administration, or you are better off during the we are administration, and listen to what they will tell you. So,
Mr. Dukle, let's be separate.
Yeah, sorry, there's the target, there's the target, or there's the projection, and now you're talking about the impact. So that two things that thing.
There's two completely different things. Let's be fair to the administration. Like I said, the only place
no. The point I'm trying to make with that illustration is that the only reason why we are even talking about it the way we are is because there is just not enough success you can point to. So yeah, you can say, yeah, they met their projected target, but I mean, and then what? They've met their projected target, and then what?
Yeah, but Mr. Dukle, to be fair,
Mr. Saleh, you think that projection is too low? Don't you think it's too low? I mean, it's a realistic
no. The problem here is not whether it's low or high. Let us be fair and equitable. The LRA, I said, is the only area of success in the Boakai administration. They did a job. Mr. Jala and his team, they did the job. They had a projection. And what I read was for September 30th. I did not end my statement to say I'm waiting to see what happened at December. So I was corrected, and I take the correction. At the end of December 31st, the fact sheet showed that they even exceeded that by $10 million. That is a success, an overwhelming success, a huge success. We should give that to them. Then we come now to the impact of that, but we cannot dismiss that success when it comes to the internal revenue.
Yeah, I want us to leave the impact because of time. We are running out of time.
We can discuss the impact later on.
Let me come to that appears.
We have to read our grade. We have to read our grade sheet, our scorecard.
And that one we're coming to now. Then we'll go to the colors. That appears in, and this whole thing I've been hearing it. We want to raise 1 billion. We want to raise 1 billion. And when they say that, they're talking about LRA and the entire government. When will we ever achieve this pitiful 1 billion that can't even do anything much for our country?
Thank you, Ansony. The day Double Jala didn't tell you say they raised 1 billion, then that would be it. But I mean, I don't go off of people who say things that was not found to be true. Now, you lied to me about the yellow machines. You lied to me about the buses. You lied to me about the asset declaration. You lied to me about asset recovery. You lied to me about ombudsman that you took to court after you appointed him. You lied to me about the legislature, and then you split it up after you said you are leaving the man from the course. You're going to let him do his job. You do your own thing. So when you come and tell me say you raised $700 million, I take it with a grain of salt. And let me tell you why I take it with a grain of salt. Now, our economic system, according to our budget, is a cash-based operation, meaning your expenditure will reflect your budget envelope in terms of what you projected to have generated. Why is it that the education budget has received less than 60% in terms of the actual expenditure? Why healthcare received less than 60% in terms of the actual on expenditure? The list goes on. So if Double Jala telling they generated $700,000, then why we spend half of what we say we're going to spend on the actual budgetary lines? I don't have to be a scientist to know that they're lying. Unless somebody will tell me that they have the money after the fact and they are going back to do what we will call how they call out the expenditure.
Recurring?
No, I understand. Like what you spend from the past, you go and cover your debt.
Oh, retroactive.
Retroactive expenditure.
Retroactive.
So unless Gongolo saying that a teacher from I don't know how long.
No, my teacher, that Gongolo brother, he was my teacher.
Yeah. So yeah.
All right, gentlemen.
But every time they declare windfall, don't they declare budget?
Yeah, gentlemen, because of time, let's do this. Let us agree that the government they had their challenges. I want to believe the government has failed in the first period of this academic year, but they have 5 more periods. If they pass all 5. Probably that will be 90%, maybe that will be 80%.
It's
right?
going to be hard, Mr. Sieh, because we saw the first 100 days. Now we see the first 365 days.
Yeah, but we got to conclude here now. So looking at the first semester, do you have hope for the second, the third, and the last semester that they will pass? And our friend Commissioner Riviere wants to see an alternative being talked about right now. And if you don't see that United Party will provide us the alternative, the promise, where else can we look? And be brief as much as possible. Our callers are waiting. 1 minute each. Let's start with you, Mr. Sharif. You brought this alternative thing. So let's talk alternative, given where we are.
Look, the Liberian electorate, Professor Dunn said the people get the government that they deserve, which is true, which I still believe. But there are all kinds of alternatives out there, and one of them is, Councilor Gonglo that ran, and he's not getting anywhere, with the Liberian people, because I mentioned on the other show that, Liberians don't really vote for people that are going to take them places. So you have that. You have my mentor, Dr. Yan. Dr. Yan is a very credible Liberian. He's a great Liberian, patriot. You know, that somebody that we can look at. My friend Amara Corner is one of those that you want to look at. You want to look at people like that. There are other young people out there that we can look at.
Sherry, I'm getting disappointed. I didn't hear my name. I didn't hear Dennis' name. You're not looking FOL. You didn't see anybody here.
You don't want to be superintendent, and that your superintendent job, your one.
Under the president said the president said being the failure. Let's look at other places. But go ahead. Your meeting is about to expire.
Okay, so I mean, so basically, when you start to look at those, people like that, right? There are other brilliant minds out there, right? So when you start to look at people like that, then we're becoming serious. But we're not yet serious, though. We're not serious right now as a people, because Liberians are not looking in that direction. Quickly the names that's coming out is Thomas Fala and Kuhn. So if you're giving me those names, then are you serious for change? Then you're not serious.
Thank you. Maybe Namwe need to pick up his political jacket and reach it to his neck. Mr. Namwe, our comrade is saying, let's start looking at alternative, because this shape here, we're not sure how we land.
Yeah, I'm surprised we're only beginning to look at the alternatives. The alternatives, they've always been staring us in the face. I agree with some of the names you called. I think Councilor Gonglo is a viable candidate. Dubayan, I'm not so sure. Dubayan is a system guy. He's an LPP man. I'm not sure if he's going to bug the system and leave Gonglo running while he's running too. So I don't know about that. But Alice Cummings, this is an opportunity. I really hope he will seize this moment and ramp things up and take control of this empty space, because you guys are beginning to neutralize each other. Right now, there is so much fighting in the rescue tribe. Fagon is at Witherspoon. Witherspoon is at the limit Pia. I mean, what time can be a better time for Alice Cummings to rise up? So, Dr. Pearson and others who have his ears, let him wake up. This is an opportunity. But yes, the CDC has failed us. The UP is failing us. Everybody, almost to a person, has agreed that we need a third option. And I think Alice Cummings is waiting and ready. He should seize the moment. This thing called government is not Alice Cummings' thing. If there were business with this crisis, he will see opportunity, but he does not see opportunity, so he's waiting. That's another guy you want to mention here, and I'll be the first to tell you he's another waste of time. I know Karen Pearson has a strong disagreement, so let me come to him. We're talking alternative. This shape, yes, some people think it's not going to land well.
In my line of work and studies, we look at past results to judge or predict future performance. Mm-hmm. If you all want to go by who is popular in Liberia, who can give the biggest bag of rice, who can print many T-shirts and give up caps and put billboard up, let's keep voting wrong. We're being a cycle. We get all, we leave it with our kids. But if we want to do it right, let us look for someone who have been out there, who've gone through systems and have performed in systems and remain true to system. Somebody who've come home and have held up their integrity and their personality to remain constant over the last 6-7 years and has not changed. Irrespective of the fact that the people have not selected him yet to be the favorable candidate for presidency. And I think Mr. Alice Cummings is the one that fit in that category for me. The others that people try to mention have been in government all along. They are like Joseph Boakai. They've been in government all this while and they made no change. I mean, that they can point to.
Thank you.
Cummings have not had that opportunity. I think we should give it to him. All right, he got the credentials.
And your friend Comrade Sherry mentioned some names. You have any disagreement with any of the names he called? Like, juice this thing up.
Listen. Americana is a friend. I wouldn't badmouth him. He's a young man. I think he has potential. If Americana put himself in the race, I think he would be a good candidate. But the Liberian people reject him because of his tribe. That's just straightforward.
Yeah, that's
we're rejecting on reason of his tribe.
Yeah.
Well, I disagree that the rejection will be on the basis of tribe. It might be because on the same basis for which Liberian people been rejecting other Liberians like Tipote, Tiawongonglo, Commies, and many others. I don't think it's necessarily because of tribe, but that's how you see it. There might be some truth to that because I've been around enough to know what happens. Let's come to you, William Gibson. Let's talk alternatives because a lot of this ship here, even if this ship will get landed beautifully, we need another able captain to continue. So what say you then?
Well, first I would start with I hope that there will be a change of things in terms of how this is turning out in overall in terms of this administration. I will hope that they're able to see their faults, particularly the president, and then listen to what people who are outside of his government are saying to try to change things around. Now, as far as the alternatives go, everyone here has alluded to the fact that there's a lot of options out there for the Liberian people to choose from, but it's up to the voters themselves to stop going along the lines of voting for the devil that they know and start to think outside the box. If you want for the country that you call Liberia to advance, you have to think outside the box, and that comes with people being enlightened and practicing the civic duty of doing the true research and not listening to propaganda that is spewed by partisans of said parties.
Thank you. Mr. Ducler. We have one person at a time. We have one now, but others are saying, look, even if this one would do good and turn things around, another good captain must continue. What do you have in mind?
Well, for me personally, my individual that I trust, that I think can do well for Liberia has always been Chairman Gonglo. And I usually say this, unfortunately, Liberians don't see it that way. But I think Chairman Gonglo will make a good president for Liberia, simply because Gonglo has a track record that has demonstrated the kind of character he is and what he is capable of doing based on what he has done. But that's only a wishful thinking on my part. But I mean, if I have to make a choice, Chairman Gonglo will be my choice.
Thank you. Mr. Salif.
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Salif.
Yeah. According to Albert Einstein, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And that's exactly where we are. All the same names that have been there. I'm surprised that, I will hear Amara Khan. He was finance minister under Ellen. What did he do to improve the system during his tenure, his term at the finance ministry? Now he's in the Senate. What is he doing to improve the system? Because that's how you know if this person can do anything. And the question I'm asking Liberians now is, why we keep looking at all the same old people? Are there not other Liberians?
So what's your candidate? Who's your candidate now?
I'm coming to it. You could be my candidate. Anybody can be my candidate. Why does it have to be
sitting here?
Why does it have to be the same people? Are we overlooking ourselves? You think you can be a better leader?
I can't be sitting here. I gotta be realistic with the system.
Yeah. So all I'm trying to say, from now to 2029 is still far. I want to keep my options open. I don't want to start just floating names out there because I want to. I'm still watching the field, I think, but I will conclude like this. I'm looking at the next.
Well, who are the people you're counting out? If you're not prepared to count,
I think Pastor is running. Oh, let's not forget. I think he's running. What's your party?
Liberia for Progress and Prosperity Party.
Liberia for Progress and Prosperity Party.
Yeah, I'm the stand-up bearer.
Okay, LPP,
right? Pastor, I can be a campaign manager, eh?
Thank you, brother. We can make the change.
Absolutely.
Jeff Victor can be your VP. I can't be you.
Give me 5 seconds here. Let me talk to Mr. Waller here. Just 5 seconds, right?
Okay.
Go ahead.
They continue to call Alex Cummings the 1%.
No, he's already washed. They can't.
I have to remind him, Mr. Boakai, the difference between he and we have a 1.25%. That makes him a 1% or 2. Let him go figure. That's what I want to say.
Thank you.
When it
Mr.
comes to
Gonglo.
Ellis, when it comes to Ellis Comey, he's missed all his glory days. He's not. I mean, I don't know if he's that astute businessman as we make him to be. I know he grew in the ranks in Coca-Cola, but politically, he's not politically savvy. The decisions he made were all wrong from the first time to the second time to, and like I told my friends, Ellis Comey will go down just like G. Baker Matthews. They will have the sensation, but he's not going to get
Oh,
it.
no, he didn't. No, he didn't go
All
there.
right. Let's come
He
to
didn't
Mr.
go
Gonglo
there.
and go to our callers, gentlemen. Let's leave it there. Mr. Gonglo, and I feel the same way. Alex Conley is in the wrong business. This is
No,
like
look,
business
Alex
he wants
Comey
to
is
do.
going through the traditional African growth. Look at Boakai. How long Boakai was on the scene before he became president?
Right.
All
Look
right.
at
Let
Sieh. How many
leave
times
it.
we have tried before he became president?
Let
Let's
leave
be
it.
real here.
And Alex Comey needs to wake up. He's sleeping now. He's sleeping. Mr. Gonglo, let hear you.
Well, of course, my view is very clear. We went through the election. I think Councillor Gonglo presented a very solid platform, a very solid proposal, 10-count agenda that he proposed to the Liberian people, that even what we're doing today, that we're talking about rice issue, it was very clear that on agriculture on the one, Liberia is not fighting Sierra Leone, Guinea, or Ivory Coast. It was very clear that the only war that Liberia has to fight now is hunger. He was going to declare war on hunger, and the first mechanized farming contract, he was going to get a machine for the Liberian Armed Forces, the Armed Forces of Liberia, to start to be the first group of Liberians to use machine to do mechanized farming and begin to feed the country. He said that's the way we start before we start to extend it to cooperatives, and the army was going to grow the rice, process it, and put it on the market. Because the army, at least they have a command structure. They were going to be effective in producing rice for the first year. And then you start to roll it out to community, local groups. You were very deliberate and intentional about that he was going to target agriculture. And he said, listen, the way I live my life, that's the way my ministers will live. He was clear. He said, if I propose a budget and I say nobody will make more than $5,000 as a salary, if the legislature salary is more than that, we will go in the 73 electoral district. I will not sign that budget. And I will tell the people, here is what I want to do. Here is what your son, or your daughter, your son, here is what she wants to do to you. And if the country would be running on 112 budget for 1 year, it will be until the citizens get in the street and make the legislature. So he said you are going to take the fight to the legislature. He was not going to yield to them to put all the pokes in the budget and say,
thank you.
He was very clear on that. So indisputably, Councillor Gonglo is a man that his lifestyle, his history speaks for himself. You don't need to say anything more than his lifestyle.
Thank you. And myself too, if you ask me, I believe in Tiawan Gonglo. I believe that he will make an outstanding leader. He will be a leader who will choose people based on character, competence, and credibility. And he will be an example in every respect. And he will ensure that those he appoints follow. And if they fail, he will take action. I believe he can be that kind of leader. I also want to see young Liberians running for president, even if they wouldn't win. Let us start. President Boakai has been running for president for some time now, and finally he won. We had to run for president for some time, and he won. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf ran for president for some time, and she won. What's his name? Bronsky did that. He didn't succeed. So I want to see Mohammed Sherry saying, I am running. I'm sure Comrade Sieh will vote for me. I'm sure Comrade Dennis Jai going to vote for me. We need to start. The reason we complain that, we're hearing only Kuhn is running, the names I'm hearing, I'm discouraged, because you're not running. So let us start to run. There's nothing wrong with running. And that I will leave it there and bring in the callers. They've been waiting. Let's do justice to them. The man Flomo Livingstone is still standing now.
Because from the Livingston need to hear our graves.
Hello?
Yeah. Livingston, go ahead. And sorry for delaying you guys so long. Go ahead.
No problem. I mean, good show. Look, before I can even start, Mr. Nambe, that analysis made was just flawed. You're talking about Mr. Burger beat George Weah by 1.5%. Who's a loser? Who's a winner? So you can't even compare that. So that's a complete flaw. So when it comes to the government, I give the president 90% overall what he did. In every aspect, you get 90%.
Be specific. Can you be specific? Livingston, be specific.
Please do not interrupt the caller, gentlemen. Please do not interrupt the caller. Let's listen. You can counter later. Go ahead. You are protected.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Sieh, for protecting me. Look, I have to look. I think Pastor Salif, Pastor Sadiki said President Baga is inept. But Pastor Salif, you work for EULA. EULA is complete inept organization I've ever seen in the history of the organization. I don't even know why you guys are 401c. Complete inept. You can't show me one organization, one project that you have undertaken Liberia that you can pinpoint to say this is what you have done in Liberia. No, you guys were sitting here taking 300,000 for Nathaniel Magay. Y'all clapping, sitting here. Nathaniel Magay promised you guys to put into in Liberia. Y'all sitting clapping. A whole UNA, the organization in Morocco here, and you call that you want to criticize the government, you want to criticize President Boakai. You guys are inept. It was so shameful to see you guys sitting on a Nathaniel Magay clapping and saying you're going to get 300,000. Taking money from the poor people. The poor people in Liberia to bring it to you guys here in America here to do what? Nothing. You guys are inept. I don't even know why that organization exists. Braga Dukley, Mr. Dukley, please. You cannot consider, you can't call all the government provision corrupt. The government of Liberia send you overseas to think your education. What you did. There's a contract. You didn't go back to serve the government. You didn't pay the money back. You sitting here, I'm not going to criticize the other people corrupt. You have been corrupt because you haven't go back to pay back the money or either work. So you can either go back and serve the republic, teach in a public school or university. What the current speaker is doing, he's doing his job by going back and teaching in UL. More I did it. They went back and served. So you here criticizing other people corrupt, but the government spend that money behind you to come and learn. To go back and serve, you didn't go back, you're sitting here, and then that's corruption too. So that's different from those people back there.
Thank you.
So when you had a criticize, let me just add on this. No, Mr. Nambe, please do your research before you criticize. The agriculture minister is doing good. The ministry is doing very good. Go and follow them what they're doing. So please try to do your research. When you ready to criticize the government, make sure your hands are clean. Most of you guys on this show, and when they put you guys there, you'll be worse. I know that the best time you'll pass marks, you'll get 10%. All right. Thank you, Mr. Thank you, Mr.
I hope I protected you.
Thank you for protecting me.
All right. Thank you, Flomo Livingstone there. I heard some shots fired, gentlemen. Mr. Dukley, hold on there. And Mr. Nambe, hold your thoughts. The EULA thing, I must say I'm a big critic of EULA. I think EULA is the greatest disappointment I have ever seen in my life in terms of leadership in this country, in our community. Don't tell me about we carry a few books here and there. Have you ever been able to raise $200,000 US as an institution in the US? We're talking trillions in this country, but I will hold my peace on that one. This caller is on the line. Let's bring that caller in. The man, James Lazar. Mr. Lazar, you are live.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know who the last speaker was. I was just going to really have a real strong handshake with him. Much of what he said is just so valid. I listened to you guys, and I felt peace for most of the time. We are a lazy generation who are failing our people. Most of the panelists tonight sat on there and blame one old 80 years old man whom many people see as rising up as a result of some divine intervention to help heal that nation. And all you could hear tonight is, he's supposed to do this. He's supposed to solve this. The ombudsman, the war crimes court. Obama went to Africa and spoke about the transition from the very ugly mentality of strong men to strong institutions. That is the way out. But the way you guys cry on the show tonight is nothing less than complete opposition to what Obama is saying. You are saying, no, Obama, you're wrong. It's not institution. It's one man. We're blaming because he's supposed to have all the power. Dennis, the host of the show, he was only made a very strong point. You know, I can have a whole country blame one man for the failure. And today, Donald Trump is here. He's doing some bad things. A judge in the country here, in D.C., Donald Trump freed all of the people that went to the White House, and the judge banned them. He banned the leaders from entering D.C. It's not Donald Trump that said that will revoke himself. It's a judge. That is institution. The Civil Liberty Union is suing Donald Trump for the immigration law. They're not suing. Yeah, it's institution, gentlemen. What is the opposition? You got an office of ombudsman that Boakai has set up, that he has staffed, and they are working. What is the opposition role? Who are they suing? Opposition should be going there suing and rallying and demonstrating. What are they doing? You won't be crying in Boakai's name, gentlemen. It's a Boakai failed. It's a shame. It's a shame. Boakai created the asset recovery team. They went and started seizing cars, told them about Boakai, they can't do anything. You're going to see small cars. You see small cars? There's a lot of stuff that is asset recovery going for, and George Weah was CEO and president, and they went through Kofa there with his chief justice. They've been blocking the asset recovery team, the Supreme Court, and every day people come and blame Boakai. What do you want him to do? He is setting up institutions. He got a war crimes court that every single day Boakai was just lying. You know, he was lying. He was not going to sign it. So then the war crimes court is there. He's working. They have an office. The guy who convicted Chancellor was him already. I think he's still there with his team today. They are working. That's institution. That's what Boakai is doing. But you have people just blaming and what do you want him to do? You know, Brother Sieh, I know I don't want to last, but I just felt so teased.
Can you stop me? It's gone more than 5 minutes.
So well in that. He has set a stellar record. You know, if Boakai traveled to China and signed a memorandum is not contract. It's just an initial stage of deriving some understanding of good faith. If it doesn't materialize, so be it. If it does materialize, it shows that the leader has some aspirational goals to pursue. You know, what do you want a woman to do? Kofa, I don't know whether Kofa has ever been elected in his life other than being elected in Sando County. That's why we go to school, we run to be student council president in the 3rd grade, in the 4th grade. Unfortunately for me, I always say that I have not been defeated in elections. I've taken part in many. But it's good for us to go there and feel defeated and learn to accept defeat. Kofa over there, how can you be leader of a parliamentary setting, a simple majority of members go against you, and you want to insist, and you tell people to go burn buildings?
So, Mr. Lassa, we're talking about, Mr. Lassa, I want you to conclude here. I can't give you all the time. Hold on. We have been discussing the success challenges of the Boakai administration, trying to assess whether or not the Boakai administration failed in the first year. From what I'm hearing from you, this is all glory. This is all hallelujah. This is all heaven. He's painting for us. Am I reading you right or wrong?
Yeah, well, not quite exactly, but pretty much close to that. Yeah, I would say that of course there are some failures. The yellow machine, I think there was a lot of corruption there. I think one of the main reasons Kofa is out today, maybe I said on your show last night. I have no
but has there been accountability on the yellow machine thing? Because your friends are saying, look, we don't see leadership yet. You heard about the Nicotech scholarship thing. You heard about the other scholarship stuff with the First Lady office. No decision, no action taken by the president whatsoever on a program that he launched, a scheme of a scholarship. He was made to launch it the next week. He was with the foreign minister in Sierra Leone, and she was the person who spoke on behalf of the delegation. Is that leadership?
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, there are some shortcomings. It cannot be success. That's why we need institutions. The opposition have been quiet. They are not speaking out. The good thing about it is that we have a president who will not kill his opposition, who will not kill people who will criticize him, like killing auditors there. You understand me? Boakai is very sensitive to public pressure and public perception. Numerous times, Boakai has had to reverse himself due to public perception, and that's good.
Was that the same
great
public
to be able
perception
to-
that made him give a 90-degree turn on the audit on the NSA? Because he got praises for that. People commended him for going in that direction.
You get praises for that. That's why we all need to speak. But I just feel that the opposition is very noisy. They don't need my voice to help them. And the opposition is very powerful. That's why they can burn the Capitol building and pretend around here that they don't know who did it. That's too much of power.
Also, the opposition burned the Capitol building?
Of course.
Okay.
That's why they report pointing to.
All right. Thank you.
No, I think no. Let me one last point, please.
Dennis, can you let Lassa go?
Mr. Lassa, I
that's
have to let you go. You have enough time. Thank you so very much for always calling, my friend.
It is the same last time brought CDC, and you are saying the same thing.
All right. Thank you. Gentlemen, I think he was our last caller, so we will leave it there and come back to you for your conclusion. We've gone over 2 hours. Time's a fast spent. I want you guys to go and rest. This is a pro bono service that you are doing, and I don't want you. I want you to get some sleep. You can go make some money tomorrow, gentlemen.
Can I go first? I gotta run.
Yeah, that way, your name was mentioned, and then Mr. Ducle will go also. And you tied it all in with your closing, please.
Thank you very much. I gotta run tomorrow in the memorial service with my friend Adrian Huff. I gotta drive 3 hours, so I gotta run. But let me do it quickly. Mr. Livingstone. You know, first of all, he should have been on the show with us months ago. He ran away. He never came. He promised to have come. Let him come here and defend his government. When I spoke about the agriculture, I didn't say anything about Alexander Newton. I said what is in the budget does not pretend a government that's serious about agriculture. 1.7%. That's what's in the budget. And they're spending 87% of the budget on recurring expenditure. To me, that is a government that's not serious about agriculture. That's what I said. They ain't go back and play the tape. So I don't know what analysis he's talking about. I'm talking about their own budget. You know, Jim Lassa, I know Jim Lassa very well. You know, we worked together during his days here with Eula and all of that. But this is newfound fanaticism, you know, is nauseating. He can sit down and talk about 80-year-old man. If Boakai knew he was 80 years old, why did he campaign for the job? Why? He ran campaign, got the job, and now we must say because 80-year-old so man do what? We must sit down there why he bringing 285 machines in the country for nothing? Why he enriching his cousins and brothers and nephews and children? Why people are suffering? We should sit down and say because he's 80 years old. If he knew he was 80 years old, why did he take the job? And people running rings around here every day, he can't do a thing about it. And we must sit down here and wait for him. Let him retire into sunset. While some of us, our people are languishing and suffering. You can't stand here and can't talk, wait, 80 years so you're getting a chance. Nonsense. You know, I have a lot of respect for Lassa, but he's talking nonsense. He's not making no sense. You better go and advise the president, they should deliver. If they ain't able, let them get out of the way. Let them leave the job and give it to people who are able. The man is presiding over chaos. Look at the Capitol building. So much chaos until it got burned. A woman sitting and saying, 80 years old, you're cutting slack. Please. Thank you very much for the show.
Mr. Named, that was a strong one. And I agree with you. I think Lassa is painting a picture of glory. I had to push him before he said, well, there are a lot of lapses. I think the other day he painted a picture of glory. I don't know Lassa to be like that. I know him to be critical on every government. For this one, I think I've seen a reason now because Mr. Boakai is an 80-year-old man. So we should all relax because the young man did not do it. So the old man should not be expected to do it. That's not what Mr. Boakai promised. So Mr. Boakai, in his own word, he said, you should criticize me. Mr. Boakai is not complaining for being criticized, but we'll leave it. Mr. Ducle, another shot will fire at you. Let's hear you. And please do your closing.
Well, you know, I think if Mr. Livingstone actually means the things he says on the telephone, he should muscle the courage and come on the show so that we can debate, you know? And so he does not know the circumstances of my scholarship. He does not know, and I don't owe him any explanation. As a matter of fact, just for disclosure purposes, Liberia only put me forward, and I went through the rigorous requirement, and I got the scholarship. It was 100% funded by the host country. Liberia contributed $0 to that scholarship, only the candidates, that's all. And with that said, I mean, I'll leave it at that. Like I said, I don't really owe Livingston any explanation. So when you go to school, when you are sent somewhere by your nation to go to school, the expectation is that you go, you learn, and come back and benefit your country. Speak to other people who have gone abroad and come back to Liberia and what happened to them. I don't even want to go into that. I mean, that's besides the point. So I'll leave it at that. You know, I hate it when partisanship overshadows people's rational judgments, even when the failure are so clear. You know, and that's what I've seen. Trust me, Anthony. If this government is doing well, we will say it, or at least I will say it. And so they have not. Joseph Boakai has not demonstrated anything closer to what he told us during the campaign season. So for somebody to even now come and say, you know, he's 80 years, why? It's just so laughable, to say the least. You know, they've just failed miserably. Trust me, the next 5 years is just going to be the same thing that we have seen in the first year of their governance. We've seen it. You can just predict what is to come. You know, and you know, there are some good people within that government, and I hope somebody somewhere is listening. Somebody you know can do your little part of it, and one person can't do it all. You know, unfortunately, we needed a leadership that will guide the nation to prosperity, and I mean things that other countries have. I mean, other countries that we help to get their independent and get them, make them become vibrant, politically speaking. They've all gone and left us, even within the sub-region. So it's really embarrassing until such time that we have a leader who is thinking for the long term in the future. But I don't see Bucket delivering it. Not this year, not next year, not to the end of his term. I'm sorry if I come across as somebody who is pessimistic, but I think the performance, the 12-month performance of Joseph Boakai gave me this pessimism.
Thank you, Mr. Gonglo. You can do your closing, and there's a message for you here from Dr. Williams. Please respond. The comrade wants to talk to you.
Maybe you can inbox me his number if you have.
Okay, I will try to get it to him. I will try to get it to him. Go ahead.
All right, great show, great show. You know what I will say? I will just make a quick passing comment on Lassa and the other guy who I believe, I don't want to use certain words on him, but I think he's not in the right frame of mind. He doesn't even understand governance. How you call him? What is the guy name? This first caller.
Livingston.
David Livingstone.
Livingstone.
No, it's Flomo Livingston.
Flomo Livingston.
I think he's living in the Stone Age, you know, and I think that's where he belongs, you know. So, but in the case of Lassa is my big brother, my uncle from Bone County. But yeah, what I was saying about Lassa, I was working in Sieh government, and I saw Lassa antics against Sieh, a government that I thought was probably moderately better than we are and what we're seeing now, the mess we're seeing now. But Lassa was campaigning against our government and campaigning for we are. No, so in summary, I would just say to Lassa has an affinity for bad decisions and bad things. And that's what Lassa is. He campaigned for we are came to power, he didn't get a job. He got angry with we are like crazy. Then he jumped behind 80-year-old man who is taking the country down the drain. Okay? Who is fighting for prosperity instead of fighting for legacy. That's right there. That's all I can say. You know, he makes terrible decisions in public life, which is so bad, you know. But I will end on this, and I will give my grace. On governance, I give F. On rule of law, I give F. On national security, I give F. On rule, F. On corruption, Because Boakai, he is swimming in corruption. I gave him A. On nepotism, Boakai has brought in more family people. I gave him A. On regionalism and ethnicity, he's a doyen of regionalism and ethnicity. He said, they think I brought it to North Central now. You should not let it go to the Southeast anymore. He stays there open it to people. I gave him A. He's a doyen of ethnic politics. On education, I gave him A. F. The Education Act of 2006 is very clear. The primary PEP Act, it said 25% of the national budget should be spent on education. This change agent is now spending 10% on education of his budget. So I gave him F on that. On agriculture, I gave him F. I think the percentage is there. On the economy, I gave him D. Now, I think the exchange rate has gone to 198 now. And the exchange rate is 198, 199, and the buying rate is 205. That tells you where he's headed. I rest my case.
Thank you. Comrade William Gibson, you're closing.
Yes, thank you all for the time. Really enjoyed the conversation. My closing would be, for me personally, and I think I can also speak for the Liberians that are out there, we want to see action. We don't want to just see words or symbolism take place within this administration. We want to see real action, real things taking place that will benefit the people who are at the ballot box for President Boakai, or even those who are not, who are just wanting an opportunity for a change to occur. And I hope that a turnaround will occur. Like I always say, I don't have a whole lot of optimism based off of what we've seen, what has been presented to us, but one can only hope and pray that that will change one day. Like I said before, we want to see action. We don't want to hear any words, any long speeches, lofty goals that have no real practicality behind it. So once more, thank you all for the time, and I look forward to the next discussion.
Okay, hold on. All right. That appears saying you're gonna get you're gonna get a last word tonight. So you wait. Let me get to Comrade Sharif here. Comrade Sharif, you're closing.
Thank you. So the tragedy of the Liberian situation is that the Liberian experience is that, every time you pray and hope for some type of a change, whether that's a political change or whatever change, and when that change comes, the change is usually tragic for the Liberian people, tragic, in economic sense, in social sense, in the political sense. After the Civil War, I mean, you had a government that emerged after the Civil War, and tragedy ensued right after, and so now, you transition, fast forward, you transition from George Weah in this current situation, who was very unserious, just dancing all over the place. He threw the presidency away. Actually, George Weah threw that presidency away. He wasn't serious, just dancing and singing and all these different things. And so, Boakai comes along as someone who was appealing because, sober and serious. He's not gonna be the dancing types and whatnot. Make these few promises that was very appealing. And now, instead of keeping his eyes on the prize, he is now, diverted from those things and engaged in these fights, these political fights, sponsoring these, political fights against his political enemies. Look, Ansony, now, Liberia, sooner or later we'll have political prisoners. I think we already have political prisoners. Liberia now is engaged in torture. The police is torturing prisoners, political prisoners. The police IG needs to resign. This police force, this Liberian police IG, the police force is corrupt and brutal. And the police is just channeling what is being given to them by the executive mansion. This police is brutal. And they are torturing people's kids in prison. And so that is what's going on. And the president, as the rule of law president, the purported rule of law president cannot sit around and let this happen. It needs to do something quick now. And so when you put all this together, I see the other day that the chairwoman of the National Election Commission was suspended. Now I believe she's going to get fired. So the few institutions that we have to uphold our democracy are being slammed by this administration now, bit by bit, before our very eyes. Nobody's even talking about that. Nobody's even talking about the Election Commission. But that is serious. That's very serious. We need to look into that. People need to discuss that. People need to keep their eyes on the prize, because it's very possible that we can have the Mozambique situation. You know, I follow world events. We can have the Mozambique situation in Liberia in 2029, and God forbid.
Thank you, comrade. Pastor Saleh, you're closing.
Thank you. Great show today. Thank you to all the listening audience for your comments. Keep them coming, and don't hesitate. Don't think we will misjudge you because we don't agree with your comments. You are free. You're entitled to your thoughts. But let me just close this way. Liberia is a country. That's why Joseph Boakai is the president. If Liberia was a company, he would be the CEO. When a company is not reaching its goals, yeah, there are other departments, there are other directors here, but all the arrow is pointed at the CEO. If Liberia was a football club, and that's what I will rest with, because Liberians are soccer enthusiasts. If Liberia was the football club, let's call it Arsenal, or let's call it Barcelona, Joseph Boakai will be the coach. When the team fails, it's the coach. So you keep asking, why are we putting all the blame on Boakai? Liberia, as a democracy operates, the government is in 3 levels. The first branch, the legislature, the judiciary, and the executive. The operation of the government rests on the executive. All the people working in the executive are appointed by the president. The only people we elect are the people in the legislature. Even the Supreme Court, they are appointed by the president who put them there. So for you to tell us we should not put the blame on Boakai, that means your brain is, you need some psychiatric evaluation.
Please be nice. Please be nice.
No, I'm not going to be nice because I'm offended at these people. He is the president. Who are we supposed to blame? If the minister is not working, fire the minister. That's why they do performance evaluation. You fire the minister. He is the coach. If the team is losing, look all around the world, all the football team, all the country team. Once they go to a tournament, they lose, they come back, they fire the head coach because the head coach did not do his job. Joseph Boakai is the head coach. Everything falls on him. He appoints them. When they go through confirmation, he comes and does what I think they do when he shake their head, give
commissioning.
He does the commissioning. So when you commission people and they're not doing their job, it's your duty to evaluate them. And if they don't reach the mark, you fire them. Everybody who does something, minister, director, assistant minister, head of organization, whatever group, if they are not functioning, it is the fault. It is the responsibility of the president. So for anybody here to question us for laying the blame at Joseph Boakai's feet, it means you are unserious and you are being deceptive. Joseph Boakai is responsible and he is inept to bring in EULA and compare EULA. EULA is not a government. EULA is just an organization trying to collaborate with Liberians here. Liberians have their own interests. If they don't want to support EULA, it's free. But the government was elected. They're collecting revenue. They're collecting money. They should do the job. It is the responsibility of Joseph Boakai. He's a failure. He is inept. He's a fraud on the Liberian people. He doesn't know what he's doing. And he needs to be fired like any head coach will be fired if his team keeps losing.
Thank you.
Joseph Boakai is the problem.
Well, our new progressive commentator, my good friend, Clarence Pearson, will close the night. Comrade, go ahead.
Thank you. I want to say that thank you for the show. Thanks to my colleague for being on the shoulders, and thanks to Flomo, Wallow, Sam, and other guys. Look, James, thank you all for your participation. Let me say this: President Boakai, first period test for the year 1 is F, and I gave him 68%. And I want to thank Dr. Nuta for helping to even get at 80% for B in agriculture because of the great plans that Dr. Nuta just came up with, and the expectation that we're going to be having the agriculture enterprise and development bank coming up soon. And I want to encourage Dr. Nuta to ensure that all of those good developments that he's coming up with should be enshrined in legislation with allocations for budgetary support to those plans. We shouldn't just depend on our partners out there. Our 700 million budget for that plan should for the most part be shored up by Liberia instead of depending on others to do it for us, because it's going to be the engine of our economy and for employment in the future. And on roads, I gave them 70% C, and I think the reason why I did that because they stuck to the old plans that they met there. They are continuing those roads that were started by the Ellen and then the WIA administration. Let them keep doing those roads and then find new opportunities. I think they should keep that up. So I give them 70%. On rule of law, President Boakai made 50%. And one of the reason why I gave 50% because of the War and Economics Crimes Code signing that he did. But I think we should tomorrow on Monday we should provide some clearance on whether we're putting forward a bill for the establishment of that court. We should also, do some legislation that will improve our laws. Sheriff said it well. We got some antique laws, laws that cannot serve us since 1970. We're still keeping them. Why are we keeping them? And paying people and then on education, I gave President Boakai C 70. I just gave him C because he brought a good educator to come over the UL, hoping that she will bring some influence and make some change. The only reason I gave him C. Other than that, and I can promise you, the on Ellie Campbell was still driving from there, and my comrades medicines are still waiting to driving from Ellie Campbell. Anything you put for there, so you shouldn't even try it. And then on the sanitation and health, I gave him F. But F is 69. The reason why it's not 0 because Mo Ali is trying with the water and sanitation aspect. I want to say thanks to Mo Ali. And then tourism, we did some surfing just the other day, so I get in 69. That's F. Overall, Dennis, F for President Boakai for the first year. Second year, I hope he does better.
All right. With that, we have come to the end of yet another Friday night debate. To the folks in the Unity Party who are in charge of our country, you have a serious responsibility. Do not get discouraged. Do not get distracted by criticism. These criticisms are not taking your jobs from you. These criticisms are meant for you to look yourself in the mirror and do the people's job. You have a serious responsibility in your hands to carry out to improve human conditions in our country. Because you're in Liberia, you should know better than us that the people are suffering. Not because you empower so the people are not suffering. You see them when you drive. When you are in the car driving, they are in the rain. You see that. That shouldn't be. But that is the case. So you have this great opportunity. You get a car that you don't pay for, that you don't gas. You enjoy air conditioning when they are sweating. When LEC is gone, you have generator to put on. Mm-hmm. How can you reciprocate? Can you at least do your job? The government, the year has come to an end. 99% of the ministry and agency will not submit their report to the president. And to Mr. President, I tell you this. If no one shows you a report of what they did and what they will do, the recommendations, let that person go. But is the president going to do it? I doubt it. We said these things because we have only one country. And that's the only country we'll have. We can go anywhere. And let us get it in the back of our mind that only us Liberians will make Liberia what we want Liberia to be. We can't look up to anybody. It will never happen. No foreigner, no angels, no God will come from heaven to build Liberia. God has given us that responsibility to be our country and help the weak in our community, in our society, or in our country. And our leaders must take the lead. Unity Party must take the lead. They think of Friday night, you in the nightclub, you drinking beer, you get drunk, because I know this for a fact, this is what they do. They sing all the songs in the nightclub on Friday. And they're not taking their responsibilities serious. This must stop. This is a new year. You say you have a plan now. You say you are generating record-breaking revenue. We want to see that revenue put into action. I am tired of useless and meaningless MOUs. Those things are not achievement. Those things are not successes. Someone put it right here. Those things are just like photo ops. You come to America, you're taking picture with the president of the United States, and you go back empty-handed. You are wasted our taxpayer money on foolishness. But I mean, just for pictures, the Unity Party criticized George Weah for just photo ops. Like George Weah was just on a photo op mission, and he was not carrying anything back. We are seeing this thing right now. I want to see a president who does not travel but pick up the phone and talk to leaders around the world and use that money intended for travel to renovate my D12 High library at least, so that our child there can have a book to read and maybe access the internet for the first time. For on the University of Liberia campus, we don't even have a reliable internet. This is a national shame. The legislators are getting brand new cars, and the president sits there and approves a budget that is committing almost 90% of the budget to recurring expenses and completely nothing to the people who elected him to change their life. They are good speakers. I'm not one. I just try to tell us that we have a responsibility, especially those who are leading us. Let them get up and do their work, and maybe we'll move the needle. On that note, folks, you couldn't have debated well. Next Friday,
I think you need to be. I think you need to be senator for Grand Crew for that.
I won't start with superintendent. I won't
for
start
that brilliant speech.
I need to get in touch with Pastor Sieh. We need to start strategizing from right now.
Oh no, we gotta. Hey, Sieh for president 2029.
Yeah.
Look, comrade, I want to be superintendent of my county.
Once I win,
you have President Boakai's number. Call him. Let him appoint me as superintendent for my county. I do not need money from the national government. My county is rich. I have the contact to carry investment to my country. My county. The people are there. They have the energy. We only need to provide leadership. The people will make things happen.
I like that.
Seriously.
I think this is an open challenge with my big mouth. Everyone knows Boakai right now. Let him appoint me. I gave him 1 year. He show up in Grand Crew. He will be asking, "How did you do it?"
Sieh for president 2029.
All right. Well,
Ansony, real quick. I think you guys live by the sea coast, right? The Atlantic coast.
Oh yes.
Yes. Yeah. Can you imagine?
We read there along the Atlantic.
Once I win, that's the first appointment. You're superintendent.
My superintendent, John, that's what I mean. That is too much power to do.
I know you want to be superintendent. Dennis want to be superintendent.
But don't forget about Dennis, though.
No, Dennis was superintendent too.
Yeah, he just said it.
What about Sam Waller and Livingston?
Sam Water, I'm making information. Livingston.
So you can be documenting all the MOUs we'll be signing, right?
Yep.
All right, gentlemen, I can't thank you enough. And to our audience, we thank you. Focus on Liberia. We educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberia. Sometimes some of you feel that we are critical. We do it for the good of Liberia. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the song that says, "We are all Liberians." Thank you, guys, and bye-bye, everyone.
We are Liberians. Liberia is our home. Liberian people. Liberia.